Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, your paranormal portal podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together.
Yes, I feel better. And look who I got with me, Santa Steve. Look at this. Ho, ho, ho.
I've already had to run 3 kids out of my lap.
Oh, my goodness.
They're going to tell me what they want for Christmas.
I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole,
One
just like the Grinch.
One little kid wanted a pony. And I said, well, have your mom come and sit in my lap. And we'll talk. He said, hey, that's my mama. And I said, do you want the pony or not?
Yeah, I see. Boy, I can tell you what. First, I'd like to thank everybody very much for your well wishes. I was absolutely exhausted. I am a floral designer, and everybody needed a centerpiece, apparently. And I can't tell you how much pine I pulled and how much I was standing up and, all week long, long days. And I felt something coming on. So I just said, you know what? My guest canceled for a very good reason. Please don't be upset with him. He is a police officer. He had a very bad night, very long, bad call. And I absolutely, we didn't want to put that kind of energy out. He was really bummed and having a hard time dealing with, the call that he had. So absolutely, we want him to go feel better and come out of that because please understand, police officers have a horrible, horrible job. And so... no fault to him. But I was just feeling like something was coming on, Steve, and I just said, you know what? I'm going to go to bed. I'd rather go to bed and just let people know there wasn't going to be a show than to come on here and give you guys a thrown together show or, we could have come on and chit-chatted, probably had a good time, but I really needed the rest. So I thank you guys so much for all your prayers and well wishes. I saw them all. And I thank you. And they work because here I am. Here we are, Steve.
Hey, glad you're feeling better.
Yes. And our guest we have a special guest tonight. He's a friend of mine named Artie Hoffman. And I asked him to come in about 10, 15 minutes after we started because we have a little gatekeeper stuff to go here. Steve, should we jump right in?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. You know how we normally do our wonderful gatekeepers. I like to say hello to each and every one of you in here. If I miss you, please forgive me for that. No justice, no peace. Thank you for your kind help, darling. She was in the chat early welcoming everybody and letting people know we were going to have a show and tell them to hit the thumbs up.
I asked her if she'd come and support me tonight.
Thank you.
She said, bitch, I'm already there. Go look in the chat.
And Edna, we love you. Mairead, hello. Glenn, Divine Diamond, hello. And to all our wonderful, wonderful mods tonight, I saw Jackie in here. Uncommon Belief, thank you. Chris Jarvis, Monica. You seeing anybody? Oh, Grandpa C, I love you, darling. How you doing, Grandpa C? Mwah. Big
Divine
love.
Diamond and Monica Davis, KC, T-Rex, Pam Smith.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Edna, got a good-looking group of people
KC, isn't this great? T-Rex, thank you, Pam. Now, Pam had a request earlier. I did not get the name of your neighbor, darling, but if you would put the name of your neighbor that you need on the prayer chain, we will send out love and positive healing vibes and prayer to your neighbor. So you just put her name in here, and everybody will say a prayer. Yes, I'm so glad, Grandpa C, that you're doing good. It's always a pleasure to see you popping in here. Blue Crossroads, hello. So as much as we love our gatekeepers, and I want to thank you again for going to T Public and grabbing some Christmas gifts there. Thank you so much. I got a kickback from them, so you got, and that's the first one I've gotten like a year and a half. So you guys went in there and you handled it and got Angel Blake. Okay, everybody send out prayers and good healing thoughts to Angel Blake, who is Pam's neighbor, so we need some healing vibes sent that way. So thank you so much.
Remember that name.
Lift her up. Lift her up, Angel Blake. We love you. We're sending you healing vibes. Fluffy is still doing well. One of our lovely furry gatekeepers with Laura. Good news there, too. So we always want to hear that our fur babies are doing well. Peta, hello, darling. How you? And I want to apologize for just jumping in and calling you a girl there. I didn't mean that. Peta said some wonderful things in our last comment section about how you can be protective and strong and still be caring and compassionate, and I thought that was such a great thing to pop out there, because it's so true. We do have to have that kind of strength and that kind of gentleness.
And I did the same thing. I misgendered PETA. It's got a feminine energy, even if you are a guy. That's good. I mean, that
nothing wrong with that.
Is perfect.
And it's just like the yin and yang. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm happy to report that Yoko Ono and Jimmy Page are still alive.
There we go. We're good.
Despite all we talked about last week.
The curse may possibly be broken, but I don't think we're done with Yoko yet, because I went back and God bless her. I went back and I looked at our wonderful gallery, so I have a little few comments from our wonderful gatekeepers here. Y'all want to see some gatekeeper comments in here? Let's throw them up. Let's see what we got going on. Here we go. It's a rock and roll one, Steve, because look what we got here. Cloud Horse put up, there's still time to change the road you're on, when we were talking about Led Zeppelin. And they were putting in great comments from lyrics, but I pulled this out because I thought, man, what a great thing to think about at the show. There's still time to change the road you're on. If you don't like your journey and you're not enjoying the journey like our motto says, then absolutely change the road you're on, change your scenery, right, Steve? You're in control.
Yeah, indeed. And that's the part in Stairway to Heaven where you spin the album backwards to get the satanic message too.
Donnie's already throwing him up for the next gallery. He says here, if you want to exorcise demons, you use holy water. If you want to exorcise humans, you throw up some Yoko. Poor Yoko.
Hey, I've cleared out a room with her before. I was having a party and was ready for everybody to go home.
Let's see what else we got. Golly. Oh, I love my chat so much. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh no, Yoko! all the women in all the world he had to choose from, he chose her, and that's from Glenn Dennison. It's so true, right? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh no, says the tiger.
None of them
no,
really
says Tigger.
Did that well, you know. I mean, Linda McCartney, God bless her, rest her soul, but she wasn't much either. But
she did hold a kitten while she got married. That was cool.
And she had money, so that was.
Here Jose says, whatever you guys do, don't watch Yoko doing karaoke with the song Piano Man by Billy Joel. You will regret it.
Listen to it now. I'm a glutton for self-punishment.
You got to go look. No. Cover your ears. And then Tim Houston says, well, she certainly arouses some strong emotions. That indeed she does. That indeed she does. Oh, especially when you play her music. I'll tell you what. What else we got? Glenn popped down here. Damn, I have a white Bic on the table next to me. Nice knowing y'all. We were talking about the White Lighter Club. And Aunt Edna puts down here, she saw a doc on Jim Morrison. He was living on a rooftop, and then suddenly he has these amazing poems and songs, just like magic. Well, bibbity bobbity boo, right, Aunt Edna? Just like magic. And then here we've got Bigfoot Anon throwing in Manson was the best part of the Beach Boys.
Him and Glenn Campbell. Yeah, they covered one of Manson's songs. They changed it around a little bit and pissed him off. But, and Glenn Campbell played and sang in the Beach Boys when Brian Wilson was sitting in his living room
Yep.
at the piano in a sandbox. That's a true story.
That is true. But writing Pet Sounds was the name of the album, I believe. And there's Donnie. I love Donnie so much. He says here, Cisco's narrating is like listening to the white lady version of Morgan Freeman. Okay, thank you. That's awesome. I just love that so much. Thank you so much, Donnie. And here we have Andrew and Gnome's Trucking Express. I wonder about Bobby Darin's ghost. Well, dang it, Andrew, now I'm wondering too.
Splish splash. She was taking a bath.
And Edna said Bobby Darin was awesome, Andrew. And he was. And Mairead answers back with the typical gatekeeper rock and roll answer. Bacon, music, bacon, 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 and music. We love you, Mairead.
Singing, dancing, bacon.
Lots and lots of bacon. Dancing. Woo! And here's Donnie again. Can you imagine looking out the plane window only to see the La Bamba guy doing the breaststroke in the clouds? Can you imagine? I don't know. Would it look something like that there, Donnie?
That's kind of creepy because
It is.
everybody else died in the crash. He was thrown from the crash.
Awful.
And
I know.
flew a little ways.
So awful. And then Sir Brian Bowden offers up this little thing. Now I got to look into this, Steve. Did you discuss the founder of Iron Butterfly who said he discovered how time travel works and then disappeared?
That is absolutely true.
Well, there you go. Our gathering of gay people.
And it's a Christmas miracle. Nobody mentioned Nickelback. Thank you.
You're welcome. No Nickelback was mentioned in this show. Well, there you go, guys. We love you, gatekeepers, and every once in a while, I miss a great comment. I try to go back and catch them, screenshot them, and pop them in there. So every couple of weeks, we'll do that.
But
it seemed like a lot
parts of the show.
I know. The comments, but sometimes we get so
here.
into it, we miss them all, So we're gonna wait on, or I hope he's having a. Let me see one thing here. Let me see if I can do this one more time. Oh, you're welcome, Peter. Thank you for commenting.
Peter's awesome.
Absolutely.
He comes to some of my shows sometimes.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I was trying to capture, forgive me, Peter, I was trying to get some of the things that you have put down about how you can be gentle and nice and calm and compassionate and still be strong. I'll tell you what, I believe those are strengths. Those are some of the strongest strengths that you can have. Very much like the Roadhouse attitude, be nice until nice no longer works. I've had to do that a lot, customer service and stuff like that, And I'm sitting there through gritted teeth going, let's read the coupon together, ma'am. Let's read it together. It says here, 1 coupon per person, per day, but why can't I have 3? So it's just crazy. People,
because you're not triplets.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'll never forget this one lady came in and she says, well, Michael's has a bathtub full of coupons right at the door for any and all to have. And I'm like, hold on a minute.
See you at Michael's.
Hold on. I say, I'm off in 15. Let's go to Michael's together. You show me that bathtub because I was just there and they didn't have a bathtub full of coupons for anybody. But, people will just lie and steal.
Bathtub full of coupons.
I mean, I've had people rip their Christmas lights off the house, come about the second week of January and bring them back in. Still got the staples in them. I swear one day the bulbs were still warm. I'm like, you can't do this. You can't. It says in original pack. Oh, forget customer service, please. I mean, it's gotten crazy. It used to be that you could refuse service to anybody you wanted to. It was a big sign out front. We reserved the right to refuse service to anybody, or no jacket, no shoe, whatever. Pull up your damn pants, whatever it is.
No pants, no problem.
Right.
Something like that.
But yeah, so it gets a little crazy dealing with the public out there.
Or the ones where they say, well, the other guy let me do it. The guy that was here at the register last time. Yeah, well, he's not here now because he got fired for letting you do it. There, are you happy?
Glenn says we're awful funny. You guys are funny. Some of the things, they just hit me. Like I'll go back if I have time and I try to, speed through the show and read the live chat. And I don't know how it looks for you guys, but on my end, it takes about 24 hours for that to happen to where the live chat will activate as it came up during the show. Yeah. So I try to go through and catch, like, did I miss something? Did somebody need help? Like, when Pam reached out and said, we need a prayer chain for my neighbor, or my pet is ill, or I need a little lift up. I don't want to miss those things because this chat means so much to me. It really does. I've seen a lot of people do shows. You know who taught me how to interact with the chat? And I thought it was so wonderful, understanding the people in there and trying to find guests that the people like and stories that they like, or getting ideas for new guests and stories, or just a conversation. That's Steve. Steve started doing that at the very beginning when he was doing 13 past midnight, and he was talking to people just like they were sitting right in the room. And I said, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. And just understanding your chat, because if you don't understand the people that are watching your show, and you don't put the quality of your show and who's going to be looking at it, and are they going to like it? It's going to have something for everybody. It's going to be something uplifting. Is there any meat to it? That's where I started with it. And I think if you concentrate on your listeners first and really want to get a show for them, and how are you going to affect their day, or maybe later on, maybe a new listener from a couple years from now. I get that all the time. I get people from 5 years ago just heard my third or fourth show yesterday, and it touched them, and it affected them in some way, or helped them over the loss of a pet, or God forbid a loved one, or not the pets and loved ones are different, but you know what I'm saying, a family member. Well, they're family members too. Shut me up, Steve. Just, the loss of someone they love. And, if you help them through that, it's an amazing thing. So you go ahead, Steve, if you want to talk about something, anything at all.
Linda Blank there is saying that she loves the mic that I got for Jimmy. She sounds great. Yeah, I noticed she was using it last night. I got it about almost 2 years ago, I think, and she had problems getting it to work, so I guess it's working now. I popped in over there for a little bit last night and saw her using it, so... Good deal.
Give me just a minute. I'm going to send Artie here another email just in case.
Artie's MIA.
Yeah, he should be popping in anytime.
Is everybody ready for the... Don't you hate that when people ask, are you ready for Christmas?
Christmas is going to come whether you're ready or not. And that's just the thing. That's just the thing, because... I don't see him down in here. He's not hiding in the bacon booth down at the bottom.
Don't see him in the green room.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with doing live shows like this, is interacting with the people. And I couldn't tell you how many times I've gone, especially to a bigger YouTuber's channel, and they're just maybe whoever's on the screen, and they're just blah, 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 back and forth. Don't even acknowledge the chat. To me, that just seems so rude. I mean, that's your subscriber base. That's your people. That's your fans, whatever you want to call it. You can at least say hi to them, or... I mean, I can't read every comment out loud, obviously, when you get several hundred people in there and things like that. But
right.
I like the way we do it here, where we call people out, we retell the jokes they're saying or saying, or pointing out things. That's the way it's supposed to be. We are a community. We're a family. And I know a lot of families that I don't have as much to do with my family as I do you guys, but that's kind of a mutual choice.
Yeah. The same year, Steve, it's crazy to not be able to sit down. I mean, even people ask, about the book, like say that, the farmhouse and stuff, like, well, why don't you sit down and discuss now with them about the farm? The ones that are alive won't talk about it.
Yeah.
The ones that would talk about it have passed.
And that's me. I don't have anything in common with people in my family. Here, there's a commonality. We have an interest in the supernatural and the paranormal, in weird things and angels and all kinds of stuff. The last time I went to a family get-together years and years ago, if you weren't talking about hunting or sports, particularly football, they were speaking foreign language to me. So I sat in the corner and read a book, and that's about the extent of it. I've got cousins that I don't even know. Seriously. On my mom's side of the family, they had 10 kids. My mom had 9 brothers. Each one of them was married at least once, some of them several times. Got one uncle likes to say he's only made one mistake, and that was marrying the same woman twice, but he's been married like 7 times. I think that's more than one mistake, Unc. But anyway, Yeah, I've got all these cousins that I haven't seen in decades or wouldn't know, or are you still cousins? You and my uncle, your mom and my uncle aren't together anymore. I guess we're still cousins, and we are, but it's just I
Yeah,
don't
I've
know.
got cousins that, after my mom died, I went to live with my aunt and uncle. She had two boys. One was already in, college, I think, like his fourth year of college. He went on to MIT.
Mm,
And so he was in college forever. That's why I have no idea. I mean, he was just forever in school. And the other one was about a year ahead of me, and it was hard, because at first, here I am, just, I didn't pick it, but you just thrown into a family. But eventually we became, and now we're a lot closer now than we were back
mm,
then, but we lost each other for like 20
yeah,
years. I've got one of those really screwed up families,
yeah,
where you get separated like that. Well, I've
yeah,
sent him the invite through. If he doesn't get, Artie shows up, so he must be having some kind of technical difficulties or something, but I'm sure he'll
yeah.
pop up throughout here. But being the fact that we're talking about angels, one of the reasons that I invited Artie on tonight with Steve and I is because I keep trying to find ways to get us through these hard times. I mean, I just opted for, my son and Christmas trees were starting at $90 was a table tree here in New Jersey. So, and you go around and you look, and that's my thing. I always want to get a live tree. It was something my mom loved, the smell of pine. I get it for her. People always say, what do you mean you get it for her? Well, you could take something to the grave, you could take flowers to the grave, but I've always said that they're right there with you, especially when you're thinking about them. So I often go get flowers instead of
Mm,
taking them there. I'll arrange them and talk about a story, that it's reminding me of her, a memory that we both shared, something like that. And I'm always saying, isn't this gorgeous, Mom? Look at this. This is beautiful. Because I
mm.
believe in those times they share it with you, don't they, Steve?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now, I'm not talking about my immediate family. My mother, father, and only sibling, older brothers, they've all passed on. I'm just talking like aunts, uncles, and cousins and stuff. And
Yeah.
majority of them are gone too. There's not a lot of the OGs left in my family. But yeah,
Mm.
it's just one of those things. I have more in common with you people. I'm more comfortable with you people.
I am too. That's honest truth. I can sit down at, like if we haven't been able to because of all the madness and craziness. If you want to know what I'm doing, I'm lighting more candles. We haven't been able to be with my oldest sister, who's really the matriarch of my family.
Mm,
And in Native, both the Native groups that I'm from, Lenape and Cherokee, women are the matriarch. It's all matriarchal. So when you get named by the women in your family. And that's a big thing, because in native ways, a lot of tribes, your name changes as you grow. Crazy
mm,
Horse had 28 different names, and his name wasn't Crazy Horse. The name that they go by is his horse is crazy. And then it came down to Crazy Horse. That wasn't even, the way he was named, and his name changed throughout, because as your characteristics changed, like think about the movie. If you ever saw the movie Last of the Dogmen, they explain
mm,
it a little bit in there. And one of the ladies' name was Stands with a Fist, because she was so mad she just went up against them. And in the tribe that basically took her in and raised her as one of their own, was very fond of bravery. If you've ever seen a lot of the older, more native-based movies, like some of these old ones where it's cowboys and the Indians were always the bad guys and all that stuff. I'm talking about a little bit more like Wind Talkers or Last of the Mohicans, Last of the Dogmen. Gosh, I'm forgetting half of them. But they'll explain a little bit more of the wonder of the rituals and the traditions. And I always thought that was really cool about your name changes as your characteristics change.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I do too, because your spirit guides change as your characteristics and your life and journey change. You get the one, like when we were talking with Carla and Dave about reincarnation and soul groups, and spirit guides, they were both explaining that you get one that kind of stays with you through lifetimes, that I guess you're familiar one, and some people might even call that a guardian angel. Doesn't matter what you call them, they don't change, but then you get specialized ones throughout. Like, say you're going through something really hard, you might get one that specializes in that type of thing just to help you through. But again, without giving them permission to help, they're limited. So that's why I tell people, right before you go to sleep, there seems to be that quiet consciousness that you get. And if you can remember to ask your spirit guides for assistance, I have to tell mine to make it point blank in my face so I can't talk myself out of it. If I'm supposed to go this way or that, my choices are still mine. But if they can give me a mile marker, that's kind of cool. And I think that's part of it too. What are you seeing in there?
Oh, I was seeing a bunch of different things.
I get called an asshole a lot. I think. Do you think that'll change me?
Donnie Cho said when he was Crazy Horse was a kid, his name was Slightly Agitated Mule. And Lynn LeBlanc there, if one of you mods would drop Lady Nopingham's link in there.
Oh yeah,
she's a really talented horror moderator. Trying to help get her, trying to help get her to 250 by Christmas. She's past that, so let's see how close we can get her to 500. Last time I looked earlier today, she's at 268. Justice, if you would drop that in there, that'd be great. So, and Justice said one of her girlfriends is named Salil Silent Hawk. Isn't that an awesome name? But, Glenn, that's one of those things. I think it will change you if you let it. If you're going to let people call you an asshole, that's going to change it. Then, call yourself something else. If what other people calls you bothers you, give yourself another name.
Or sing that song. Wasn't it? You can embrace it too, Glenn.
There you go.
Embrace it. Wasn't it Dennis Leary used to sing that song? I'm an asshole.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, yeah, embrace it. And
smoke cigarettes, eat red meat. I'm an asshole.
I never thought I'd be an asshole when I was younger, but here I am killing it.
Oh, you're right. Creepy Unsolved. Hi, welcome in. Tuning in late. What did you miss? Oh, gosh. Pull the show over. We had starting over. No, honey, you didn't miss. You missed a little bit of the.
Dylan's here from Creepy Unsolved. We can start now. How you doing, Dylan?
Hi, sweetie. We are talking about, I don't know, we're jibber jabbering, aren't we, about angels and things like that. We're waiting for our guest, Artie. I heard from him about an hour ago and everything was fine. He's got links in 4 different ways here. So he may be having some technical difficulties. I don't know. If he gets to pop in, I hope he does, but it'll probably be right on time.
And if not, there's always next time. And I'm looking forward to having Donnie Cho on. I thought he was going to be on tonight. I was talking to him in my chat last night. And
Donnie, how do you feel about next Monday, sweetheart? Does anybody... All right, let's do this, Steve. Anybody that's read the book that Steve and I wrote, We Are All Children in the Wilderness of the Afterlife, if you would like to come on... Wait a second. Hold on. Let me take it. He's calling me, so let's see what's up.
Steve, take the wheel. Okay. Cisco takes in a call there. Let's see. Donnie got a haircut for tonight. I do want you to come on soon whenever it's good with Cisco. There was some other stuff here I wanted to address in the chat. Yeah, Lynn, Lady Nopingham is really, really good, and I think that's what it's all about. Over on Missing Person Mysteries, I've got 133,000 something subs over there. But if I can help a smaller creator, then all the more better. That's, what good is success and stuff if you don't share it with people? Because that's kind of what happened to me. I didn't start out with that many subscribers, but it's always good to share and help the community and to turn people on to other narrators and stuff. And it makes Lady Nopingham feel good about herself and encourages her to continue what she's doing, which I truly believe in.
I'm sorry.
Runs with scissors.
Blue Cross shirt. I think my wife's hitting him is runs with scissors. Look. Oh, I love that. Does anybody want to know what my Native American name is.
There
It's
we
not
are.
what you think. It's not what you think. Artie is okay. He had a bit of an emergency. He'll be here in about 10, 15 minutes. I promise you he is worth the wait. So at least he's okay. I said the most important thing is that he's okay. And he is coming. So no apologies needed. But I'm just glad that we know what's up. I thought, you never know. People could be having technical difficulties. I've had to have a couple of people on and they couldn't get their mic and stuff to work or something with Chrome. And I'm not technically inclined enough to have anybody else, help somebody, especially ask Steve. Gosh, he gets phone calls from me all the time,
How do I do this? What's
yeah.
wrong with this? I'm going to throw it out the window.
Yep. Here's lady is in the chat. Good
in
evening.
Nottingham.
Hello, darling. Great
Speak
job.
of the devil. We
She
were
does
just
do a great
talking
job.
about you.
And personally, as somebody who's narrated, I mean, gosh, the cabin is just like 14, 15 hours worth of stuff. And, it takes a lot. It really, really takes an awful lot to do it. And I'd like to promote, I don't know the young man, but I'll tell you what, Let's Read. I don't know if anybody is on that YouTube, but if you just want to listen to somebody read, the voice on him.
Joel was one of my mentors. He helped me when I was first starting out.
Really?
Gave me some pointers and stuff when I didn't even have 1,000 subs. He's a great guy and an excellent narrator, but he will put you to sleep.
Yeah.
In a good way. Good way.
I just keep staying awake. Now, I'll tell you what. Did anybody see Laura in the chat? Laura, if you're there, shout out, darling.
Laura Stevens.
Yep.
Yeah,
I thought I saw her.
I want to say hi to her if she's here. I got a package in the mail from her today.
Too.
She glitter bombed me. I took the card out, and it's full of glitter and little paper snowflakes that went everywhere.
Well, I came home after a long day of working, and I was almost too tired to open the package, but I had to do it. Look what I got. She sent me a feather. Look at that. Isn't that the most beautiful little thing? It's one of those Andy and Amos and Andy. Not Amos and Andy, but you know who I mean. All the ladies out there will understand. But it's got that and a little heart on it. And I'll tell you what, that means an absolute world to me. And then she took the extra time to remember my little furry gatekeepers, Miss Helen Wheels. Look at that. And it's all laser. Because, they run a mill out there. In the mountains. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Little glitter paws with Helen Wheels on there.
She sent me one from Mulder, and he loves it. He grabbed it and took off with it. Yeah,
and like Mr. Dickens. And a Mr. Dickens. Look at that. Isn't that something? But I'll tell you, I cherish... And this is the thing right here. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about Christmas.
She gave me some Halloween magnets, too.
Oh, me too. I got some for my Friginator.
Halloween.
But look at here. This one means the world to me. Look at that.
I got one with a feather on it.
With the feather.
Awesome.
Isn't that the most beautiful thing? And it's a real feather on the wood there. And then she added the glitter to it. And I'll never forget that because we did her show, Steve and I, and we talked about miracles and signs from spirit and everything else. We told a little bit about our feather stories, which we might do tonight if I could talk Steve into telling us a story. I had to pull his leg and see if he'll tell us a story. But towards the end of this, I thought that would be really great. And it's the little things. It's the cardinals. We're missing people. It's the... it's the ornaments you pull out, and each one has that meaning, or it came from, your child made it, and now your child's 35, 40 years old, and you've got their little thumbprint, that they made in kindergarten. It's the ones that your mom hung on the Christmas tree before you were born. I've got them from 1950s.
Some of those. I think my brother's wife has them, but yeah, I've got the ones that I used to get my hand knocked away from messing with when I was a little kid.
Absolutely. And it's all those little things. That's the thing. It's the tradition, and it's the carrying on. It's just like I said in Native American ways too. There's and I will tell you my Native American name. My sister gave it to me. She was 16 and married. I was born 3 weeks after that, and they've been married for quite a long time, and it just seems like forever. She's been the older sister that got out and had her thing together, but she was the one that kept us all together. We have the same dad, and we've all been, straggled out this way and that way. And she was my magnetic north. She was the place that you pointed where you went to for love. But I think we might have Artie in here. Nope. Wait a minute, that's Steve. Steve, are you sharing something?
Yeah, that's for when you want the feather story. There's a recorded version of it.
Oh, okay, terrific. Okay, sounds perfect. I thought that was Artie, but he's not a little Christmas tree with stars. Okay, so I just being sure because sometimes you don't hear the sound, and I didn't want to keep yammering on if he was sitting in here. But yeah, so that's the thing. Christmas. So I had to call her up, and she had to decide on a name for me, and then I had to get what I call smoked. So you get called in to the circle, and you cleansed with just like I told in the story about the saging and everything, where Rage leaned down and he got his saging. So that whole type of thing. And then you go in and they call you by your name, and therefore you are from that point on. And I am Little Soaring Eagle. And she said she loved to watch me soar, but she had to put the little in there because I'm the smallest, I'm the youngest one out of everybody. So Soaring Eagle is my thing. Well, there you go.
I'll tell you mine. Some of you folks know I like to talk a little bit. And my dad used to accuse me when I was a kid of having the ability to talk until I thought of something to say. So his Native American name that he gave me was Runs Off at Mouth.
Runs Off at Mouth. There's, so many of those that are good.
He's just kidding. But
I dated. True. It's a whole nother show, but I dated this guy, and his name was Speaks with Thunder. I know, right? That's it, man. Because he was profound when he spoke, and he had a big job. But that's another thing. There's all these different. Everybody had a job. But it wasn't. They didn't. In Lenape and Cherokee, I don't know about the other tribes. I can only speak on these and what I've learned, because I can tell you if there was one way on the other side of the world, they might have done something different. But what I learned was you didn't get forced. Part of getting your name was also understanding your characteristics as you were, born. And then as you grew and as a toddler, you start showing these characteristics, and then on and on and on. Yes, Uncommon Belief's name is Standing Bear. Isn't that cool? And my other son's name is, hang on a second, Thinks Twice.
Oh, I like that one.
Thinks twice, because again, he always thinks before he speaks, and he's very analytical. It's wonderful.
That's one of those things like measure twice, cut once. Those little sayings they're such a truism.
He thinks twice. That's great. And I don't know if you had a Native American name, because that's why you're not allowed to name yourself, because other people see the better characteristics in you, where a lot of times you're not going to see that yourself. Like you'll gyp yourself on characteristics. Part of when you're getting your name is also people that are seeing you, who you really are, and bringing out those characteristics. And that's when you start getting, like I was what I call cleared to wear turkey feathers. And also I was okayed or cleared to wear any kind of corvid. So buzzard, seagull, blue jay, hawks, they're all corvids. And red-tailed hawk was one of mine, and I still have the beautiful feather.
No justice, no peace. Yours just falls downstairs.
Falls downstairs. That could be. But there's my beautiful, and you can see
she's gonna whip
maybe the beautiful beadwork on that. These are all tiny little delicate beads. There's my beautiful red-tailed hawk feather. That's the one I get to wear in my hair. But it is a thing. You can't just go and say, oh, I like this, I need to wear this. No. You're cleared to wear them because they have to do with your characteristics. So I'm trying to understand my characteristics. Well, I was given turkey because they're great, because of their grace, and they're thankful and giving. So that's really kind of cool. So let's see what we've got here. I think we've got, okay, give me just a second. Artie, we love you if you can hear me. I got you. I have an intro for you. Wait right there, my love. Okay. What do you think we bring Artie in here, guys? All right, you're going to love this. I got a little something to bring him in, tell you a little bit about angels in tonight, because we're going to be just real solemn talking about Christmas angels, right? Because angels are what? Hold on. They're fantastic. So get it up there, guys. Come on. Get that going. Get that vibration up. Because I'll tell you something. Artie and the angels are high vibrational beings, and so are you. And we're going to bring Artie in here, and we're going to have some fun. So get them up. Get those dancing emojis in there. Here we go. Get them up. Get them up. Get them up.
Even Crispy getting in the act there.
Crispy getting in the act. You get your vibration up, and everything starts going with the rhythm. Because tonight for you, I have my friend Artie, who's not only a medium, not only one of the most high vibrational beings I've ever met, but he's also an author and probably one of the best life coaches I've ever heard. Let's get him in here. My friend, everybody, welcome Mr. Artie Hoffman, author of Angels and Answers. Hello, Artie.
Hey,
Hello,
there he is.
sweetheart. I love the dancing kitten with the angel. Absolutely love it. Adorable, 100%.
I knew we had to get those vibes up and high, because here you come, Artie. I would like to introduce you to my wonderful live chat. These are our gatekeepers. They are wonderful, high vibration, positive vibe people, and I just had to bring you in here before the holidays to help lift our spirits and give us a little glitter to put in our pockets to carry us through. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Ah, it's been great. And it's almost near impossible to be depressed when you watch Artie. Now, Artie has a show. It's 8 p.m. on Sunday nights, is it not?
Yes,
or 7?
It is.
It's 8. And we're going to go ahead and drop those links in the chat for all the mods that have the link to his Facebook page. Catch Artie on there. He does a wonderful live show where he does live questions and answers and things like that. What else do you want to tell us of the chat about yourself there, Artie?
Well, put it this way. I feel very blessed to be put in a position to do what I do. I would probably say one of my greatest gifts is to help people give back their power, because too many people give away their power to other people.
Yes.
They don't give themselves enough credit, and they end up giving away, like they put other people's opinions and thoughts over themselves. Because your opinions, your thoughts, and your feelings are just as strong, just as beautiful as, if not more powerful than, the people who you tend to give too much credit to. And people give away their power to other people rather than take control of their own life and take control of situations. They pass the buck along to other people. And too many people rather be liked by others, or try to be liked, rather than to be respected. And that's the biggest mistake, is that people will chase after other people to be liked rather than to be respected. And
that's a great point.
Huge. When you respect yourself, that's where your happiness is. That's where you're going to find happiness. But when you give away your power, whether it be to your kids, whether it be to your lovers, whether it be to your family members or people at work, when you know something is correct, it's very important to stand by your guns. And and you know, this is one thing that I got from my father. I didn't get along with my father too well, but one thing I definitely got from my father is that when he believed in something, he never backed down. He was a very stubborn mule, and I could be very stubborn when I believe in something or someone, and I believe in the higher good. And I've been challenged a lot, but I always stick to my guns. And when I walk away, I usually walk away feeling good about it. Because sometimes the best thing that you could do is to let go of control and just let things play itself out. So too many people try to control other people or try to control situations, but it's out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn to, let go and let the universe take over, or let things play itself out. And sometimes the people who you love the most are the ones who hurt you the most. And
Mm-hmm.
so, therefore, if they're not respecting you in the way that you deserve, it's important for you to respect yourself and to like not be a part of their energy or not be a part of their world. And even if it's family, if they're disrespecting you, then you need to respect yourself and start creating better boundaries for yourself. So if you can't compromise with the person or try to work it out, then you need to let the person or the situation go if
Mm-hmm.
you want to be happy. But if you want
Mm-hmm.
to continue to be miserable and keep on reliving the legacy over and over again, well, then keep on living all the bullcrap that's been going on.
100%, baby. 100%. And again, I wanted to say the book here is Angels and Answers.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful all the way through. It's nothing but affirmation of self and that you are not alone. And what does Artie mean by that? And I'll ask him, but I'm going to tell you up front. And thank you for the mods for dropping the link to Artie's Facebook. It's Angels and Answers on his Facebook page, and that's where you're going to see him on Sunday nights. And I totally give you permission to go over there and watch him, and then pop over here and see me late. Get what you need, because you're going to be where you need to be when you're supposed to be there, if you listen to your heart and your intuition. Right, Artie?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be guided. You'll be
Mm-hmm.
guided at the right place at the right time, and
Mm-hmm.
that goes with all of life.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Um,
Yeah, and you said it in here. I love this, and I'm as you're talking, I'm going to look through here. There was a couple things I wanted to point out because it's just so much. Like I said, it's affirmation of what you already know, but sometimes we forget, and we need to be reminded, right, Steve? Like
Yeah,
we're talking
indeed.
about, everybody in here is extremely enlightened. They help each other along in this chat, and they remind each other when they forget, hey, maybe you accepted that call from a loved one that always lets you down, but you let that energy in. Maybe next time
Yeah.
block it and do something else instead. You said in your book that we've talked about the soul groups before, and how we are on the other side, and we're excited, we choose all the different things we're going to go through in life, and then we've got to play the cards that we picked. And because we come in and we get amnesia and we don't realize we picked the cards, now we're blaming everybody. Why? Can you elaborate on that a little bit for us, Artie?
yeah. Before we're born into this world, um, we already know how we're going to die and when we're going to die. We're the ones who pick our parents, and we already know most of the major challenges that we're going to be dealing with in this lifetime because we picked it all. We picked it all. And like you said, as soon as we're born into this world, we're blessed with amnesia because now it's time to play the game according to all the cards of what we picked. It's time to play the game of life according to all the pieces that you've picked. So the reason why a lot of people will ask me, Artie, what is the purpose of life, or why are we even here on earth, or why are all these challenges? As spiritual beings that we are, we want to grow to the highest level possible, like to be in a zone of Moses or Jesus or, all the high priests. That is our goal, to be as best as we can be, or go as high as we can. Now, the only way that we could strengthen our soul or to raise our vibrations is to deal with these challenges. So, what do I mean by dealing with challenges? Learning about experiencing about forgiveness, about patience, compassion, blind faith, to be giving, to be understanding, and a lot of, for us to understand it, we need to live it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always and our purpose is so that we could go through these experiences so that we can raise our vibrations. So what do I mean by that? I playfully tell people, if you want to become a really good boxer, then you have to learn to take a good ass kicking if you want to become a good boxer. So if you want to spiritually grow, yeah, you're going to have to learn to take a good ass kicking. So it's very, so yeah, so it could be very, very challenging. It really is. It's very challenging. But is it always, why is God testing me so much? Or maybe it's the dark side that's challenging you so much. Because when things are not going right in your life, we tend to blame God, like, why are you doing this to us? Or why are you allowing this to happen? And well, when things are not going great in your life, this is where you need God, and this is where you need the angels even more, to give you the strength, to give you the wisdom, to give you the love, to give you the support that you need to help get through these challenging times. So a lot of times we'll blame God, the Almighty, for our circumstances, but yet God gave us free will to make all our own personal choices. And then when the cards fall as they may, according to our choices, we'll blame somebody else or blame God. Now, the funny thing is, I said something on my show yesterday, and I had a recall of a time when I was in eighth grade. My eighth grade history teacher, Mr. Yvonne, a very fun, funny guy, teacher. And he used to have these incredible insights. I mean, as a kid, I couldn't really fully appreciate it from a deep level, but yet I still thought he was very funny. And he says, isn't it funny how a student or a child will go, I got an A, but then he gave me the F. He gave me a D. But yet I got the A and I got the B and I chose. So we'll take credit for things when they're good, but when things go bad, it's somebody else's fault rather than us taking out our own responsibility. So it's like, well, what are you willing to do to make the changes in your life to make things better? Because a lot of times people are still sticking with their same game plan that has not been working, and they're waiting for different results, and it's not going to happen.
And
So,
old keys don't open new locks, right, Artie?
yeah, that's a very good one. And I tell people, you say you want to make chocolate cake, but you can't use vanilla ingredients. So if you say you want what you want, then your actions need to pull through. But a lot of times people say they want what they want, but your actions are not promoting what it is to get you to where you say you want to be. So it's very frustrating for the person because, when people go from where they are to where they would like to be, that involves transition. Transition involves changes. And when there's changes, then there's a lot of inconveniences that come with that.
Absolutely. And like I said, with old keys don't open new locks. It's the same way. We can think of 1,000 different ways of saying it. I mean, wasn't it Einstein who said, Steve, that the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different.
Expecting a different result. Indeed.
Absolutely. I mean, what do you think about that, Steve?
Yeah, I agree. That sometimes that it's a poster and a bumper sticker, but it's still true. Is sometimes you have to be the change you want to see.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And be the change you want to see in the world. That's it, too. And I always say, and I forget this all the time, I cannot control what other people do. I can only control the way I react to it and what I do with it. So again, it goes back to that. Do I take that phone call? Do I answer that text? Do I let that energy into my day? Or do I go about and just let it lay and ignore it if I can and go on about my day and keep my day in a high vibration? I mean, Artie will sing, we dance, I tell people, kick off your shoes, grab your family member and dance in the kitchen, lift your vibration up, laugh, tell jokes, whatever you need to do to lift that vibration. Because, when you're down here in this hole, and we often, like Artie said, we think everybody else dug the hole for us. Yet we're the only ones standing in it. So how is that? And now they're standing outside the whole, yelling yelling down to us. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, we allowed other people to dig us a hole. So when you say, well, this person dug a hole, well, the thing is that, again, you gave your power over to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And you chose them to make the decisions for you that put you in the position. Mm-hmm. So now you have your ego is justifying, well, it was their fault that put me here. Well, it was also your fault that you allowed yourself to be put in that position because you put your power into them. Yeah. Now, if somebody has a good habit of usually pulling through, so you gain a trust with somebody, so you believe that they're going to do good by you. But when somebody is consistently being a jackass or not respectful, and you're still putting your energy or your power into someone else's hands, well, then whose fault is it that you did that? Mm-hmm.
They dug the hole. It's up to you whether you jump into it or not.
That's true, too. And it's also up to you to get out, because here's the thing. You also said something else in your book. It's all in how you look at things, too. And I believe that so much to be true. I mean, little things like, here's one. A couple weeks ago, I found a $10 bill. And of course, the first thing I do is look around to see if I can find the person that might have dropped it. Because if you just hold up a $10 bill, say anybody drop a $10 bill, you're going to get 50 people say, yeah. If it was right behind somebody in line, I see it drop, I always pick it up, hand it to them, and you have a nice day, whatever. But if you find a $10 bill blown around the parking lot, somebody else had to lose that 10 for you to find it. So now when I lose things, even precious things that are precious to me, I'd lost a ring that I'd had for years, meant a lot to me. And I looked for it as much as I could, but I could see I was getting very upset. And I just breathed in deep and I said, you know what? Maybe somebody else needs to find it. Maybe that'll make somebody's day. Maybe the universe, that's just how I say it, is going to be able to use that to make somebody else's day. Because, again, I doesn't lose it. And I feel bad for the person that lost it, but I really needed that $10. It can't just fall out of nowhere. So often when we do things, it's in a chain of events that are happening, millions and millions of these chains of events all at the same time. And we often say in this chat, put it out there in the universe. Put out that positivity. If you have a choice to put out negative or positive, why wouldn't you put out positive so it comes back to you? What do you think about that, guys?
Do you want? It's like it's the what's the word I'm looking for? It's
just a different way of looking at it,
It's just the way of the universe. If you want to call it karma, what goes around comes around. Energy attracts energy, and it all flows. I put a post out a while ago. And I on my website, what was it, my Facebook website, Instagram, I forgot, but I was, playfully saying, excuse me, but I misplaced $1 million. If anybody finds it as a reward, I'll be more than happy to give you half.
That's so cool. You didn't get any takers, did you?
No. The son of a bitch has probably kept it all.
Kept it all. Son of a bitch kept it all. Well, that's just it. And it's just, I think laughing is part of it. All those high vibrational things. It's near impossible to walk around, upbeat all the time. I mean, everybody gets down, but hopefully, you've got your earth group, like we have in this chat, or like Steve and I have, where you have a friend. And if you ever thought about that, when you're down, you look and you go, you've got listeners, you've got commenters, you got people that you're going to call and just say, what you got to do, just get your shit together and get up, but you don't want to call that one first. Sometimes we want to complain and whine and somebody to listen and feel sorry for us. Why don't we just jump to that fifth person who's going to tell us exactly what we need to hear? And that's funny, and we do it to ourselves too. We mope and mope and mope, and it's look, eat some chocolate, put on some music.
I've done that. I don't want to ask her opinion because she's going to tell me what she really thinks. And I know that's what I
So
need to
true.
do. I want somebody to commiserate with me first a little bit before they tell me what I
Yeah,
need to do
misery
to
loves
fix it.
company.
But again, it goes back to that universal law of sowing and reaping. And just the trick to that is make sure you're planting what you want to harvest. Because if you plant bad things and sow evil and discord, that's what's going to come back to you in spades. That kernel of corn you plant, you don't get a kernel of corn back. You get a stalk. And on that stalk, there's maybe a dozen ears. Each one of those ears has 100 or 1,000 kernels. So if you plant something evil, you're going to have a lot of it.
It's going to come back. And Mairead is saying here too, I'm happy with a lot of things I've been through. Uh, no, would I change it? Probably not. Did I learn from it? Hell yeah. And
There you
that's the
go.
whole thing. You do learn from it. I had an elder tell me one time, it's like, if the path was always easy and clear, would you appreciate it? No. But we've all probably here taken the road less traveled. And we're enjoying the journey. That's our thing here. That's our motto for the show. Enjoy the journey, Artie. And that's it right there. It's your journey, and you need to enjoy it. And that's one thing I love about you, because when you're on there Sundays, that's what you're putting out. And you tell people straight up, don't send me these prayer links that say, this is going to be, if you put up this prayer thing and you don't share it, this is going to happen. Just
Oh,
pray
I
for
hate
me.
that.
I do too.
I
Just
hate that.
pray for me.
If you
Just
scroll past this post, Jesus
yeah,
Christ,
yeah,
that just
yeah.
makes me
It's
mad.
ridiculous.
But
It's so
another
ridiculous.
thing that gets me, I've had people message me, Steve, will you help me pray for this?
Yes.
Sure, I will. I'll stand in agreement with you. But have you prayed for this? Well, no, I'm asking you to do it. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'll help you pray, but I don't want to pray for you if you're not praying for the same thing.
I
Does that make
saw
sense?
I saw a funny kitchen towel. Actually, it was a funny saying on a kitchen towel. I purchased it and I gave it to one of my friends, and it said, "I've learned so much from my mistakes in life that I was thinking about making some more."
And that's just it. We make a necklace out of them, put them right out for. We used to have a saying in the South where eccentric and crazy and all this stuff. Look, I love that. I love people who have a style, who have a thing. I've been around artists and performers and people all my life, and I just thought they were so interesting, but so is the guy in the suit, that goes home and just allows himself to be himself, once he gets out of the suit, puts a briefcase up and everything else. And maybe he dances in his stocking feet in the kitchen while he cooks dinner. And that's his way of coming
Expressing
out of that
himself.
day, expressing yourself and getting that vibration back up. And that's the thing right now during the holidays is so many people miss so many things being sad. And I don't think there's anything wrong with watching a movie, an old movie that makes us cry and, connects us to emotion, as long as we don't stay in it, I love the nostalgia of some of the old movies, and I've always find myself watching the upbeat ones. There's one that I watched for the first time 2 years ago, and it's called Beyond Tomorrow, and it's about these three really rich men who lived in, this was done in 1930s, 1940s, this movie, and they lived in this high-rise, rich place in Manhattan. And they were so bored. They had so much money and they were so bored with their lives. They were lawyers and, just all that kind of muckety-muck stuff, smoking pipes and standing around the old fireplace and drinking brandy and just talking, But they were so sick of each other. And they said, they made a bet that humanity was dying and things weren't, as like they used to be. I wonder what they would think about now. So they basically put 4 wallets, and they put their business cards in the wallets with a $10 bill, which in the 30s was a lot. It's a lot now. And they threw it out the window, and they said, I'm betting, everybody here is betting that nobody's going to return that wallet. And anybody who does comes in and has a free dinner tonight. We spend Christmas Eve together, and share time. Well, 2 people do. And of course, the 2 people wound up falling in love. And that was great. The movie goes through, and they love these guys. They became part of their family. They all went into a plane, and they died in a plane crash. Well, they come back as ghosts. And they're trying to tell these loved ones, don't be sad. We're so glad that you're in love and that we did this, that we were able to share in this type, to see that love still exists, that humanity still exists, that kindness and honesty and all these things still exist. It helped us and our spirits so much that they were ready to cross over and go into the light. But they wanted to stay and tell them that they were okay and they still love them. And that's the message you get all the time, Artie, from our loved ones, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is. It gives people reassurance.
I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah,
I really
it helps
do.
heal their heart.
Mm-hmm.
They think that, when somebody dies of a painful death, that when they cross over, they're still carrying all that pain, and they're not. It's like once the soul separates from the body, all pains go away instantly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's just like I just told somebody the other day. I said, when you sleep, I said, if you're having, physical pains, aches and pains, or you're having a lot of stress in your life, whether it be emotional or financial, but when you sleep, all your pains are gone. People love to sleep when they're really hurting one way or the other. But when you're sleeping, it's like you're at peace of mind. So imagine the person who passed away, that they're totally disconnected from everything constantly, and they don't have to come back into life dealing with all the physical pain of their body or the emotional pain or financial stress or anything. It's all gone. It's all gone. So all pains go away. And so a lot of times, most of the times when people cross over, their wisdom is opened up by tenfold because they're no longer restrained or conditioned by all the heaviness of earthly circumstances. So you become a different person when you cross over to the other side. I don't believe that most, and I do mean most people, a very high percentage, don't carry the anger or the disappointment or the hurt when they cross over. They might feel bad for people who are already here, but not for themselves, not within themselves, because you no longer carry those burdens. And what I mean by that, there's you could have the same person with two different personalities. And what I mean by that, there's the personality of yourself right now, Cisco, where you're pleasant, you're nice, you're warm, you're friendly, because you got enough sleep, because you're well fed and all. But if you haven't eaten or drank for 3, 4, 5 days, and you just went through emotional help for whatever reason, you're not going to be the same person, the same personality as you are when you're well fed or you're well slept or things are going pretty balanced. So, it's the same person, but you react differently according to the circumstances that are in your life. You're not always going to be this same wonderful person if the circumstances around you aren't pleasant. You will, this is Cisco acting the way she does after she hasn't eaten or drank for 3, 4 days or slept for 3 or 4 days on top of that. So therefore you become a different person. You're more agitated, you got headaches, your body starts, so to try to understand why people act the way they do, they've been conditioned since childhood of why they are the way they are, or maybe because of past bad relationships that they still carry. So you don't know why people act arrogant. And it could be very difficult because a lot of times people only react to each other, only what's going on within the moment, rather than trying to understand, well, why are they being so mean or why are they acting like this? There's a reason why people say what they say or do what they do according to the moments that are given to them.
So true. And we never know what somebody else is going through. And we say that all the time.
Right.
And we have people, people that come back and communicate from the other side, visiting loved ones or message for loved ones and stuff. And they tell us that those acts that we do that they ripple out in an effect, like dropping a pebble in a lake and the ripples continue to go. We only see them go so far, but they're infinite almost, or they'll bounce back and reverberate back and continue to go. And I think that's the way our actions are too. So, if you try to put out as much, like you said, not everybody can be on the upbeat all the time. You should catch me driving sometime in New Jersey. You're going to catch the hard part of Cisco right there. But that's just the way it is. But again, when you start getting almost like a raise in your consciousness, once you start seeing these things, you start getting the 40,000-foot view of how all this life is connected, and we really do reverberate off of each other's the ripples that we cause, our actions, and
the vibrations,
the vibrations. Really, honey, and it seems like it makes so much more sense. And when you start to see that, I believe that you make a conscious effort to put more positive ripples out there than negative. Wouldn't you think, guys?
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And we've all found a way to reach out. Artie's got this wonderful show. He does. Tell us a little bit about what you do on the outside, because I want to make sure that everybody knows that where they can come for readings, that they can maybe. Do you do now with the new world the way it is? You do Artie parties and Zoom meetings, or can you do stuff like that?
Yeah, I could still do stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. I just did back-to-back large parties, back-to-back weekends for people.
Nice.
People still have me come. People will call me up to do private readings over the phone or FaceTime if they didn't want to come see me in Central Jersey. I'm in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And I welcome everybody to come, whoever wants to get a private reading, whether it be in person or over the phone. And I'm just as accurate over the phone as I am in person. And I'm not saying that to put a feather in my cap, but it's the truth. People say, well, what's the difference between in person or over the phone? I said, well, as far as the information goes, not much. But, if you want to meet with me, then you'll get the chance to feel my aura and all the beautiful energy in my place. So, so I take pride in my place. So, but I feel very blessed because it's nothing shy of the Holy Spirit and the angels that give me all the answers that I know for people with their life, whether it be personally, medically, business, financial, their kids' life, their love life, whatever, past, present, future.
Right.
It's the spiritual world that makes me look really good.
Well, too, and I think it's the loved ones, because when you watch one of Artie's shows, or whether you have an Artie party, and I just wanted to bring that up because, where can they go? They go to your website or connect with you just on your page there on the Facebook?
Well, if you want to check me all out, because I got lots of videos on my website,
okay.
Go to artiehoffman.com. If you want to reach out to me personally, you can email me, artiehoffman@gmail.com, or you could call me at 732-778-7173.
There you go, guys.
And so I'll repeat it, 732-778-7173. So if you reach out to me, we could set up a session, and I do half hour, 45 minutes, an hour sessions. And it's whatever's within anyone's budget. I don't gouge anybody. I don't try to convince anybody. But I will give you the best of myself within that amount of time. And, either you could ask me specific questions, or I'll just tell you whatever comes to the top of my head. I'll just...
I can give you a little hint, guys. If you want a really good reading, and this goes with, anybody I bring on this show is tried and true. I don't bring anybody on here and tell them that they're a fantastic medium if I don't believe they are, because I've vetted them for years. And, people like Artie, Steve has great intuition. We all have our little pockets of gifts and abilities that we can use. And you guys do too. Your intuition is very powerful. But I must jump in for just a second. Donnie, you sent a wonderful super chat, and I'm so sorry, love. On my end, it disappeared so fast that I can't find it. You see me looking here. One of my mods told me that you did. I apologize, I didn't see it, and I didn't see the question, love. If you could put the question back up there so I can acknowledge that question, Donnie. I apologize, I didn't see it. For some reason, it disappeared so fast. But when I bring somebody and I tell you that they have a wonderful gift, Artie connects right in. But here's a secret. When you sit down and you are so overcome with grief, I highly recommend that you wait a couple months. Now, Artie might say something different, but for yourself and for the loved one too, some things are too new, and all those feelings are so fresh and right on the top there. When I get a reading, I usually sit down at this point and go, tell me what I need to hear. Not what I want to hear. That way I can let any spirit, of my loved ones or spirit guides come in and tell me, look, this is what you need to hear right now. You're doing this, this, and this, or, or maybe work on your anger or work on this over here. And I always find I get a really, it kind of puts the ball in their court, doesn't it, Artie?
No, it does put the ball in their court because, it's like when you're ready. That's basically what I tell people. They say, well, how often do you think I should get a reading, or how soon should I come? I mean, for me personally, believe it or not, I've had experiences where I was reading for somebody and literally they just came from that person's funeral and they pulled through right away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or the next day. And not that I was trying to channel them. I just started instantly getting information to somebody and said, oh my God, I just, came from their funeral. They just passed away. So it's pretty interesting. So, it's not like you're bothering them. It's like, oh, I got stuff to do. It's nothing like that. But, what's the most interesting thing about when loved ones pass away is like they'll visit everybody else, but the person who wants it the most, or the person who knows it to, they don't get jack crap. They get nothing.
Yeah,
from that person for a while.
Isn't that something that actually happened in our family? My sister said, "How come they don't come to see me?" And I said, "I don't have an answer for that. Maybe you're not open. Maybe you're blocking it somehow.
You're blocking it somehow
because
you're so close to the person or so stressed out that you haven't come to a place of acceptance. So there is a reason for the time delay. So. But they will eventually come to visit you. But when you are so demanding and so controlling and so expecting, it's that energy that blocks it from happening.
There you go. There you go. Donnie had a question here. This was Donnie's question for you, Artie. How do you typically respond to a person who argues with you and says everything paranormal is a form of demonic manipulation? That's a good question.
Well, first of all, I would say I don't agree with that. And usually those people have been conditioned their whole life that what we do is negative. And so I say to them, it all depends what your intentions are behind your actions is what makes something right or wrong. So when people do say that to me, I say, well, if you're saying what I'm doing is evil, then I need to shake the hand of the devil and thank him because he's really helped me heal thousands of people's lives.
There you go.
So it all depends what your intentions are. Now, are there people who do what we do that are very manipulative and take advantage of other people? Yes. And so do lawyers, and so do car salesmen, and so doctors and everybody else, and politicians. Can you imagine politicians?
Oh, my.
But yes. So, it all depends what your intentions are behind your actions. So if your intentions are pure, then yes, it's a very, very good thing to do, regardless of what it is. But if your intentions are to take advantage of someone or to manipulate, then no, it's not right. So you have a husband and a wife, all right, and they're in love and they're kissing and they're hugging each other, whatever. And then all of a sudden, a friend of one of theirs goes over to one of them, and they start hugging and kissing one of the other persons. Now, they're just mimicking the same thing that those two just did, but there is a different ulterior motive between people
Mm-hmm.
as far as what's cool and what's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, it all depends what your intentions are. So when people say to me, "Oh my God, that's against my religion, and it's against God," I said, "Well, it
Mm-hmm.
might be against your religion, but it's not against God,
Mm-mm.
because it's God who gave me this beautiful gift to be
There you
able to
go.
help out other people."
Hmm. And it's also to do with intent too, Artie. And I mean, there's a lot of people that will manipulate, and for your money. And we've all
Well,
heard
yeah, that's what I
the
said. It's
old
what your
yeah,
intentions are,
oh
manipulation.
and the whole thing about the money's dirty and we have to put it in the egg. Bring me this so we can cleanse the money. And we've all heard the old gypsy things and stuff like that. But here's the deal: Artie and I know, and Steve too, and all of you in the chat know this to be true. Nothing that comes in love and comes with messages of love and comes with comfort and laughter could be of evil. It just can't. So that's the big thing. It's all in what you do with that, because there's obviously people who have gifts who have gone to the dark side and used them for bad, and to promote themselves or power or whatever, fame. That's not the same thing. What hooking people up with their loved ones and giving them that validation, and Artie loves that validation. Tell me if I'm hitting it. I want to know how it is, because it's so good, isn't it? And a lot of them are funny. I think it's hysterical that someone will go to the other side, connect with a loved one through a wonderful vessel like Artie, or some of the other people that I know, or even me in the past. It's happened where they're always messages of love or hope. I had an older lady. I could feel her coming. The energy. She was down another aisle on the other side, and I could feel her energy coming. And I had this voice. This is how it happens for me sometimes, Artie. And I can never make it. It happens when they want it to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Usually
it
that's
happens
not
when
right
they're ready.
when they're ready. She's coming. You got to help her. What? Excuse me? There's somebody there. Excuse me? What? And I'm hearing it just as clear as day. I keep getting these messages, and it's really high, almost like they're talking through a fan. Have you ever done that as a kid and talked through one of those old fans that would turn and your voice would change? That's what it sounds like to me. Well, as it played out on this one, as she's getting closer, I'm picking up her pain. This woman was arthritic. She was fighting, with the pain as she's walking. And the whole message of love, it seemed to be from an older gentleman who loved her dearly. I would say probably a husband or a brother. I never found out who. I didn't need to. But the whole thing was, she's giving up. She needs to hold on. She needs to keep fighting. She's giving up. Tell her I love her and I'm fine. I can wait, he says. He gives me a couple of other things, and I tell her, and her whole face, her whole body, she was almost straightening up as I'm talking to her. I was just the vessel. There was no evil. I had no evil intent when I went to that grocery store to buy vitamin C, that I was going to pick out the first struggling older person and say something like, that's ridiculous. This happens. This is out of pure love. So that's what I tell people. I say, I don't understand how anything that comes out of that kind of vibration, high vibration and pure love, could ever be evil. That's, and if that's not good enough for them, then, I don't need to be having a conversation with them.
Unfortunately, too many people believe in the evil more than they do in the higher good. And just because the evil makes itself very well known, whereas the good is very humble and just could do good deeds or show love without getting all this attention. It could just be, it's like doing something kind for somebody or making a donation to somebody and not having to put your name on it. You're doing it just out of love. Whereas evil will say in your face. So just because evil exists doesn't mean God and love does not exist. So
that's a great way to put that.
So that's why they have a hard time believing in God or believing in the higher good, because of all the evil that does present itself. But yet it is through God, through love, through angels, that helps you get through all these challenging times, or to overcome these challenging times. that will bring you from the darkness into the light. But it's that saying, if you want to achieve, then you need to believe. In the physical world, too many people say, well, seeing is believing. But when you are from a spiritual point of view, when you start to believe, then you'll start to see more. You'll start to see. So,
and you open that up too, because I think that's a great way to put that, because we were talking a couple weeks ago about angel numbers, and I was explaining that, whether it's angel numbers or whether it's the pennies from heaven or the coins that are left or the feathers that are left or whatever it might be, or that song that always comes on and plays at the right time, we talk ourselves out of those. We're just this or that. I've seen Artie give readings where people are coming in and the spirit is giving message that's so precise and so clear, and he's given all these different things, and the person is still, but could it really be him? Could it really? It doesn't matter how many validating points Artie puts out. There's that person that still wants more of it, and I think that might be tiring, but sometimes people have a real hard time of accepting even the in-your-face stuff, don't they, Artie?
Well, yeah, there's that story that I have in the book. I have a very powerful story within the book, Angels and Answers, where I'm doing a reading for this one lady, and the half hour is over because it was a half hour read. And I was doing one of my Artie parties. And so the lady goes, after the reading was over, she goes, Artie, I'm still having I look at the people's picture of their loved ones who passed away when I connect to them. And she says, Artie, I'm having a hard time believing that you're actually getting all these messages from my mother who passed away. And I said, I can only share with you what the spiritual world shares with me. And I said, I believe I'm talking to your mother because that's how I know what I know. She goes, well, you said some general things that could pertain to anybody, but I admit they did have to do with my mother. But you also did say some specific things that only had to do with my mother, which I thought was pretty good. But I'm still having a hard time believing you're actually communicating to my mother. So I said, well, let me look at your mother's picture one more time. So I looked at their mother's picture, and I said, your mom is showing me cows. She says, well, what do you want me to do with that? I said, I don't know. I said, your mom's showing me cows. So in my eyes mind, I saw like all the cows get up on all fours, and they were all mooing. And so I looked at her and I said, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I looked at her and I said, moo. And she started to cry. She started to cry, and I said, what's the matter? And she points to her mother's picture. She goes, that's her name. I go, what do you mean? Her name's Muriel, but everyone would call her Moo.
There you go.
And so I said, well, here's your picture. Now get out of here.
Out of here.
so that was the validation. So I don't have to try to prove myself.
Right.
See, I was just I said, well, all right, well, let me see if your mother has something else to say. But overall, when somebody says, oh, I think what you do is bull crap or it's bullshit or whatever, whatever, it's like, well, I really don't care. Because you shouldn't have to try to convince yourself to, try to prove yourself, to prove your self-worth. I mean, you know what you're worth. So there are people who might call me up and say, well, I don't know if I want to spend the money with you, because how do I know if you're real, or how do I know? Can you answer like one or two questions for me first? I go, no. I go, first of all, if you go to my testimonial page on my website, I said, you'll see what the other people have to say. And I said, and I wouldn't be doing this for 33 years if I wasn't of any, if I wasn't good or, a validation. So I said, so if you want to, take a chance with me.
There you go. And I thought it would be a great idea too for people to think, if you got last minute Christmas gifts or maybe start the new year, if you wanted to do an Artie party or something. That's why I asked if you could still do the Zoom stuff, because I know you do all that kind of stuff, but I didn't know if you still wanted to. But what a great thought. So go on his website and see, maybe, if you can't be with family members, because of cross or travel issues or anything like that, maybe getting together in a Zoom call with something like this and connecting in. How cool is that? And then connect with the loved ones, whoever comes through. And I think that's a fantastic gift that everybody can chip in and do for as a family or a group of friends, or because again, like we've heard in the past, if you come with, say you're not family, but you come as friends together, they're going to come. Your spirits that are connected to you and to them are going to come together because you're together. So, and I just think that's the neatest thing, because when I did that with my sister, I knew I wasn't going to get a reading that night. I wasn't going for that. I was going because my sister had never had a reading, and she believes, her faith is wonderful, and she believes in the possibility of things, but she wasn't closed-minded to it. So we went, and my mom, who comes in for me all the time, her path to me is she knows that path. She's been gone since 76, and she's connected with so many different people. She's such a strong energy. She's magnificent in every way. And she's so busy over there gathering and bringing people together. And, so she brings in my sister's she was kind of a stepmom for the first 3 to 5 years of her life. We have a crazy family, but someone I never met, never knew their name, never knew anything they did together, never heard any stories other than the fact that she stayed with them for a short time until our dad got back from the war. My mom brought in that lady, and I could feel her presence. Hey, Steve. And I could feel her presence there. And she had to usher in this other spirit to talk to my sister, gave her some validating points, made her cry, changed her whole world, flipped it upside down. And then right before she left, she whispers to the medium, says, "That was a nice thing you did for your sister and letting her go." And I didn't need it like she needed it. The person in that room that needs it the most is going to get it. Right, Artie?
No, that's absolutely. Also, there are times when, when I read people, I like to read them individually and not where there's a group. I mean, I could read them as a group of people and stuff, but if somebody's energy is much stronger than the other person, I'll start to read for the other person rather than the intent of the person who I'm trying to read for. Because if their energy is that much stronger than that person, their energy is going to pull through, and I'll end up reading for them instead of the person I'm trying to read.
So true. And that works both sides, people. That's the living and the dead, because I know sometimes the dead will come through and they say, "Oh, well, your grandma and grandpa's here too, but they're standing in the back and they're letting this one person come through and speak for everybody. They're all here. Everybody's good." But, that energy was strong in life, so it's also strong in death, the speaker for the family or whatever. I find that too. My mom does that a lot. It's very interesting.
What makes me laugh is that when somebody is pretty insistent on saying, no, she could stay with me. She's okay. She's my best friend. Or this is my sister. It's like, I don't care, if they hear or whatever. I'll say, okay. So the funny thing with those situations is that I'll tell somebody something. I'm reading for the person, and they'll go, no. And the other person who's listening in, they're going, yes. And if they're having a hard time realizing messages for themselves or remembering who's who as far as who's pulling through, and they go, "What are you talking about? She just said this and that the other day." And
yeah. And it gets so funny.
Oh, yeah. So the other person's on the outside looking in, and they're able to see things on a stronger, wider peripheral vision. Whereas the person who's being read has a brain fart, a brain freeze, and they're able not to see things so clearly of what you're trying to express to them.
I think that's so true, man. Donnie's got another question, and I don't know the answer to this, guys, so I'm going to throw it to you, Steve, and you, Artie. How many different psychic types are out there? I have read conflicting things. Some people say 12, 64, 100 plus thoughts. I don't know.
I think there are as many as there are individuals. I don't think any two are too much alike. There's some similarities, but I think it's one of those things.
Yeah,
who's got a fire?
Yep, there's a fire around here. I live. My place is right down the street from a firehouse.
Yeah. Well, God bless whoever's on the other end.
The question is setting off alarms.
Yes, you did it, Donnie. There you go.
Hope you're happy.
But there is no set rules.
I don't think so.
It's like saying, what religion is better?
Yeah, and I think that's something too. And I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the first things in the book. And again, Artie's book is Angels and Answers, and you can get that on your website, Artie, or is that
Yeah, you can
where?
get it on my website. You can get it on Amazon, just like you can get
Okay,
everything else.
perfect,
And I have
perfect.
another book. I have another book called "Have Your Angels Call My Angels,"
Oh,
and
cool.
I
and
like
the
that one.
other book,
I do
"Have Your
too.
Angels Call My Angels." That's more about relationships, having a good understanding of a relationship with you and God, you and the angels, you and your lover, you and your kids, you and your co-workers, you and your family members, and you within yourself. And that book, Have Your Angels Call My Angels, will build your self-confidence because you're going to have a realization of, like I said earlier, not giving away your power. And it's about creating healthy boundaries. And I bring a lot
Love
of
that.
solid points to the table that you're going to go, uh-huh, uh-huh. And you're literally going to think that I wrote those two books just for you. You're
It's
going to
so true.
swear the only thing that's missing is your name on it, because these books have such common sense that what I do is I take the public's emotions, and I put words to it. And a lot of people are going, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Wow, wow. So you're going to have a lot of validation and a lot of understanding when you read both the books, Have Your Angels Call My Angels, and have your Have Your Angels Call My Angels, and Angels and Answers. So, and right now I'm working on a third book, and that's all about love stories. It's all about passionate love. Like, when you read my next book, you're going to wish that your lover would express themselves as elegantly and as beautifully to you, like as anything else in the world. The words and the passion of these beautiful pieces that I wrote. And again, I'm being channeled. And there was a girl who I was madly, madly in love with. And the words and the feelings and the poetry was coming out so beautiful. Like, I just could not believe that these beautiful thoughts were coming out of my mind and out of my lips. And as I was writing and writing and writing. And so the name of the book is called You Fill in All My Blanks.
That's awesome. You fill in all my blanks. That is so cool. And I hear a lot of people say, I found my soul mate. Now, I believe personally, from what I understand it to this point in time, it can change 10 minutes from now. But what I believe too is we can have soulmates that aren't our partners, aren't our lovers. They might be a good friend. It might be,
Your
a family
children.
member.
It
Your
could be your
children.
parents. It could be your children,
Absolutely.
your sister, your brother, your friend, your
Yes.
coworker. Yeah, a soulmate. And we have more than one soulmate.
Yep.
So, yeah, everybody brings something to the table. It's not just a lover. You're right. And when somebody has a twin flame in their life, because not too many people meet their twin flame, but when you
Oh,
meet the
yeah.
twin flame, it has nothing to be with, oh, I'm so in love with you. It's not just about that. There's a lot of pain that comes from meeting or being with your twin flame. There's a tremendous amount of pain because they bring strong messages to you to help you evolve to a higher level of spirituality and love and understanding. That's a twin flame. A twin flame isn't, just all, shoots and ladders and giggles and
Right, right.
hearts and Cupid. That's not so much as a twin flame. A twin flame brings lots of heavy duty lessons other than love. I mean, yes, there's love, but there's a lot of deep
Heavy duty lessons. And I
heavy
think
duty
that's so
lessons in that.
true. That also has to do with another message. And again, my mom, when
God
somebody
bless
has
her
to,
soul.
God bless her soul, she has been my best teacher in life and in her death and her continuation of her journey, because she's come back and told me, you have to take off your hat. This is their journey. You cannot fix anything. That toolbox you have, close the lid and sit on it. You have to let them do and love them through it. The best message I ever got from the other side. Sit down, sit on your hands, take off the hat, and just love them through it, because you can't go through and fix things for other people. Sometimes they've chose their cards too, and that's their journey. You can love them through it. You can offer advice. You can be there for them, but you can't fix everything. And I think that was one of the hardest lessons I ever learned, Artie, and it came from Spirit.
No, it's very true. I always tell people, there's a difference between being a good manager and being a good leader. It's two different people. A good manager is somebody who can direct other people on what to do or how to do it, and to get them to do the right thing. And, they manage them through it. A good leader is somebody who helps other people become the best who they are,
Yes.
without you doing it for them. That's being a good leader. Help somebody become the best at who they are.
And see their characteristics. Again, we were talking before you got here about, I was talking a little bit about my native side and what I learned from them. And one of the things we were talking about is names, how your name changes through your life, very much like your spirit guides. You'll get a spirit guide in a certain time of your life when you need that specialty, but we usually have guides that stay with us, at least one, all the way through. And, it's really cool how we change too, and we need those different things. Just like a native's name changes with their characteristics as they grow, their name might change. Like we were saying, Crazy Horse had 28 different names, and it changed with his characteristics as his character flowed and matured and changed with him. And toward the end of your life, your name that you have now is a collection of all the things that you've learned in your journey. And I think it's just such a neat thing. And I think we really are a collection ourselves of all the things that, not only the things that we are, but all of the things we've hoped to be. And like we said in the beginning of the show, that I believe it was Tom dropped it, that song lyric that says it's never too late to change the road you're on. That Led Zeppelin lyric, we were talking about
And
that.
it's
And
true.
so
It
true.
100% is true.
So true. And what do we do to change, Artie? Just know that we need to? Is it one little step, or you just take a bridge and jump? What do you do?
What's the question? Be specific.
It's like, if you want to change the road you're on, it's just simply making that choice to do so. And it doesn't have to be all in one day. It could be little pieces at a time, could it not?
100% true. It's about having the leap of faith and letting go of fear, and having the blind faith, and just letting go of control. And a lot of times, like if you want to transition, say, out of your relationship, I always tell people you need to create an island, and I say that metaphorically.
Ooh,
you need
like
to create a dream or an island to go to, for you to get out of your funk where you are. If you do not create an island or a place for you to go to, that after you get so frustrated and then you want to leave your hellhole, you're going to end up right back there if you don't have a plan to build to go someplace else. So a lot of times you might have to save up the finances to get to where you want to be. You need to get the legal counseling to help you make healthy choices or decisions, or see, what you might be up against. You want to get see what emotional support you have from friends or family, or find out what place you want to go to. You need to set up the other side of the bridge for you to leave where you are right now to get to where you say you want to be. Because if you don't create that island or that dream to go to, you're going to end up being stuck right back to where you started from, because you have no plan. And yes, it could take a couple of years, but the exciting part is I'm working on the plan, and you're saving up enough money, or you're building your relationships to be able to get to where you say you want to be. And so that's, so I tell people, under those circumstances, I'll touch their their knee, or I'll touch their shoulder, and I'll say, congratulations, because today is the first day of the rest
The
of your
rest of
life.
your life.
And I
Amen.
say, and the good news is, you can go into your relationship every day that you don't like, and you can go into your job that you do not like with a happy face, because today you just realized you have parole, and that you're not sentenced to life, that this is only temporary.
It's only temporary. One of the best sentences ever. This is only temporary. And again, you are in control. I'm not talking about, if you have a nothing in your bank account and you want to own a Rolls Royce, next. Listen, set the goal. Who's to say you can't do it? If your goal is just to make rent this month, do it. But also, it's on how you approach things. Again, I go back to part of Artie's book where it says that, you can look at things one way and you decide whether it's, a bad thing, an okay, mediocre thing, or a good thing. Because again, a lot of things that are good for us are disguised as trauma, disguised as a hard day at work where you had to learn patience, or a car accident, or something, God forbid, that, kept you from something else. Again, how many times have we looked for our keys, couldn't find them, got held up, and found out there was an accident on the corner you could have been part of, or something else? It happens all the time, doesn't it, Steve?
Oh yeah, I've had that happen. I don't know how many times. You're so mad, I'm out of here, I'm late, and then there was a 12-car crash that I would have been right in the middle of had I left on time. So
it happened with me, and I had my children in the car, and it was a tornado, and I kept saying, no, we have to go now, we have to go now. If I had waited and done the thing that would have took an extra 10-15 minutes, we would have been part of the cars that were picked up at that light, because it was always a long light you had to wait on the way where I was going. And I was so grateful that I had made that choice. But it's always the things, you don't know if you listen to your intuition if something was going to happen or not. I think it's rare you get to see what would have happened if you had done it another way. But why do we need them all the time? Why not one is good enough to cover everything, where you go, you know what, that probably happened for a reason, or hold on a minute, what am I supposed to learn right now? Am I supposed to be learning something? What's my takeaway from this issue in this situation? A lot of people in the chat are talking about family members that they've tried to help all their life. Well, at one point in time, I had to...
Wait, excuse me, but if
Go ahead.
people are not ready to be helped,
there you go,
or to be healed, you could try to help them and heal them all you want, but if they're not willing and accepting, and if they don't want the help, or they're not ready for the help, then you're wasting your time and energy. You might be in a position to help them, but are they in the position to accept it?
Exactly.
And that's you intervening. That's you working your will over their will.
Yes.
So
yes.
if they're
take the hat off.
Yeah. So if they're wanting your help and they ask for your help, by all means, you help them. But if you impose yourself onto someone else, all right, but they're not ready for it, and they're not ready for change, and they just keep on playing themselves as the victim, well, then that's their choice. They constantly play themselves as the victim. That's their role. They don't have to, but that's their choice, and that's their free will. But this is you trying to play God when you're intervening your will into someone else's. Well, I know it would be a better choice if they did this, that, and the other thing. And guess what? You're right. It would be a better choice. But if those people are not ready for it, then it's going to be wasted time and energy or money or whatever it is.
The hardest thing to do is to walk away from somebody who's struggling, or somebody who's got an addiction, someone who just keeps making the wrong choices. We love them, so it's difficult to see them go through it. But the same as when my mom came through and told me, I have to take off the hat. I can't fix this. I just have to love them through it. If it's a loved one, that's my suggestion. Because here's something else I've learned with readings and good, wonderful mediums like Artie here and our friends, is that I suggest going into Artie's, listen to Artie give a full show. Don't put your question in right away. Watch a show. Listen to the questions, and then listen to the spirit answers, because most of the time spirit answers for almost everybody in the room, and I'll tell you why. Because if they came through and they said, don't worry about that. That's forgiven. I forgive you. You forgive me. That's no big deal. I love you. We're fine. We watch you. We're there at Christmas. We were there at the wedding. We see the birth of the baby. We love you. We're good. You're doing fine. Hang in there. That's for everybody in the room. The specific details might be different for each person. But again, the takeaway is that each one of these people got a reading from a spirit that came through and said those things. And that's for everybody. So why would you think your loved one isn't okay? Why would you think your loved one isn't around? And things like that. So that's what I mean by it's almost for everybody in the room. So watch the show, listen to the answers, and then maybe the second time go in and put in your question and get to know Artie a little bit, because I'm telling you, you feel jazz, you feel lifted up, there's music, there's singing, there's dancing, just like we did in the beginning. And that's to raise the vibration, because that helps you and it helps spirit, does it not?
Of course, whenever you raise the vibrations, it's definitely going to be much better. When I see people that are very uptight, I always say to them, and then have a little drink, or get a little buzzed, or, fool around a little more, whatever it takes, dance, but to do something to raise your vibrations, or to listen to good music or watch a good comedy. It's very important to raise your vibrations, especially when you want good things to happen, and a lot of people are so like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like, some people just love to be miserable.
Yeah.
Or
when you're down and low like that, it's so hard for the higher vibration to click in. It really is hard, Artie, for people that are down low. Like I say, be a Tigger, not an Eeyore. You know?
It was so funny you should say that, because with one of my ex-girlfriends, I had another reader who was, not only was she a great reader, still is, but she's very funny. And so when she was talking about my girlfriend, when I was having problems with her, when I was with her at that time, she says, Artie, she says, her energy and vibration is so much lower than yours. She says her animal totem pole is Eeyore.
She lost her That's so true. I mean, we all know Eeyores at work, and I also call them energy vampires, because they walk a room, they suck out the energy out of the room, and you just feel like drained.
Vampires.
Oh, we've all got those in the family, or they call us on the phone, and you just feel like, oh my gosh, you just feel so low after. And that's what I mean about not accepting, and it always comes when you're high up, you're baking cookies, you're having a good time, and all of a sudden that energy will try to get in, and it'll try to get in and try to, whether to take it away or what, it's on purpose or not, I don't know, but it happens every time. And again, you can choose to be to let that in. Your choices, you have free will, and that's why I think that you need to ask your spirit guides and angels for help, because it's free will, and they're not going to just barge in, are they, Artie?
Help me if you can.
I'm feeling down. Yeah.
And I do
appreciate you being around. That's so true, because, it's like when my son was in we laugh, and, I've told you this story, Artie, and I know Steve knows it, but, my son was in the ICU, for 38 days, and I can remember one of the first 3 days, and I'd had this by the hand, and he would squeeze my hand. That's all he could manage to do. And I said, I have to leave for a few minutes, but I guarantee you I'm not leaving you alone in this room, because the nurse had to give him up, do their rounds, and you had to leave for 10, 20 minutes while they did that and then go back in. I said, I'm not leaving. I'm in this building. I'm not leaving you. But all the love I'm leaving. I said, all your angels are here. All your loved ones are here. I said, I can feel it. The room was filled with this energy, this vibrant energy of warmth and light. And I told him, I said, now I realize that you probably think that your spirit guides are, I said, I know at least 2 of them are sitting at a bar in Jamaica with their hand in their head going, that kid, man, I swear to God, and I said, well deserved. But I said, everybody else is here and you're surrounded with them. And when I left, I took a picture of his window and got a beautiful angel in just the light in the window. It was an amazing picture. But the thing is I think when you start to realize and you start to get that openness about it, and I saw that, thank you for that sign, and you start talking to him and letting him know, you'll see that 1111 more. You'll start picking up those coins more because they know they've got your attention, and I think that gives them energy and a reason to keep doing it.
Energy breeds energy.
There you go. Steve's got a wonderful story. Please tell. You want to tell about your feather, or you want me to play it at the end?
If you don't mind, just play that.
I will. I'll play it at the end.
I'll leave out part of it if I tell it. And
it's so beautiful.
Branded it's for 13 past midnight, but that's a good version of it.
Great. It's all about just signs from spirit. Maybe it's just one white gossamer feather, or maybe it's a coin with a birth date. It could be the picture of them gets turned around or knocked off the table, or a cardinal in the window, or a butterfly. All of these signs, the more we're open to it, Artie, the more it comes. It's almost like exercising a muscle or clearing a pathway through the woods. And the more you walk through that path, the more it just stays cleared. Around this time of year, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah, and happy Hanukkah, by the way, and Merry Christmas to everybody, and happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating out there. These are hard times for that. And I wondered if you had any, little advice for this time. Whether to, some people leave the empty chair. Some people do a rose at one table. I think it's anything that feels good to you, don't you, Artie, that makes you feel better? The special ornament on the tree, grandma's Christmas ornament, or the manger, or whatever it might be. Tradition.
What I got from spirit when I connect to someone, especially when it's their first holiday season without their loved one, if anything, make it even more cheerful than ever to keep the vibrations up, because that's what your loved ones want. They don't want you to all of a sudden, I can't put up a tree this year, or I can't decorate this year. I can't. They do not want that at all. They want you to really spank it up, and create the village and create the snowflakes and create that Christmas tree, the Hanukkah bush, whatever you got going on, the lights, keep those vibrations, the music up and stuff. It makes them happy when they see you happy. But when you're down and out, they don't want you. It makes the other spirits on the other side feel really bad and sad when you're sad or angry. And they're over there, and it's like, oh my God, because of me, they're acting like this, and oh my God.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And they have a hard time moving on with their life. So, like I said,
that's a great point, Artie.
What I said was easier said than done. It's easier said than done when you love someone so much and try to get into the spirit. But you also have to remember that those people who you lost, especially when it's parents, that when they lost their parents, they still kept the tradition alive. They still kept your Christmases going. They still kept the love and the positive energy going and stuff. So now you need to keep that going, not just for yourself, but for the sake of your other family members or friends.
Amen.
And keep the legacy going. And not just all of a sudden, okay, Mama Bear just died or Papa Bear just died. Now it's like, it's over. It's like, no, that's you being really self-centered or selfish or arrogant or self-absorbed. And you're playing a pity party. And it's not supposed to stop. You got to, if anything, you got to make it more creative or try to make it more. And that's what will make your loved ones on the other side a happier spirit.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it also gives them a lot more energy. And a lot of times I'll just name everybody off and I'm like, happy thoughts and energy, Dad. Happy thoughts and energy. Even when I have to have for my dad, I'm like, I'm the only one I know that's sending you energy. So it's just me and you, because everybody else just, keeps talking, about him in a low. But I understand that he came in here and he did the the part he was supposed to play in this life. He was that guy. And
This is a good analogy that I want to express,
go
because
ahead.
I've used this analogy not too long ago. So here you are, you're in a relay race, okay?
Okay.
And your grandfather started off the legacy of tradition. And he's running a quarter away around the track, and he gave it to your parents. And now your parents are running for the other leg of the racetrack, and then they hand it off to you, the baton. And now it's your time to run without them. You're running a quarter of the way around the track, and then you're going to be handing it off to your kids and allow your kids to finish off the full circle. Don't expect that everyone's running the same distance around the entire track together. Everyone plays their part running around the track as you hand off the baton.
That's awesome. And I think it's also another way of looking at people that might be a problem, in the family. We all got, I'm going to tell you right now, I can't sit around the dinner table with my immediate family and have a conversation like we're having tonight. It's not going to happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
Steve can't do it. I don't know if maybe Artie can. I don't know. But the people in my family that I'm related to by blood just don't have these conversations. Everything is very superficial. Everything is very bumper sticker talk. It's all that kind of thing. I get down deep with this chat, with guests on this show, with people that are like-minded like this, because we can talk about this, raising your consciousness. And the thing is you're raising your consciousness. You're the only one you're responsible for it. Of course, if you have children or pets, of course you're responsible for them too. Or if you have someone that you care for that might not be able to care for themselves physically, but still, you are in control of you and how you let others affect you. But keep in mind, there are people that come in this world that their part in your lifetime, as well as theirs, is to create an agitation, is to create that teaching you patience, teaching you how to deal with someone who's addicted that you love unconditionally. You just wish they were different, because this is how it is. And the hardest thing that you've ever had to do is to physically imagine this person. You just went in the ocean and you pulled them out because they were drowning of their own choices. And you pull them out and they're fighting you the whole time. And you get on the beach and they're actually mad you pulled them out. And then you turn your back, you're helping them out, and before you know, they jump back in again. And what do? You jump back in there to pull them back out. Let me tell you something. It took a lot for me to stand on the shore and go, kick, you son of a bitch. You'll learn to swim soon enough. I'm tired of jumping in after you. And that's a hard thing to do, but you got to do it sometimes.
There's two kinds of families. There's the family members that you're born with, and then there's the family members that you create, which are your friends.
Wonderful.
And that's another set of family, So, and a lot of times we feel more comfortable with our circle of friends than we do our own family.
Absolutely.
Our own family, we love them unconditionally. I love you, but I don't like you, with some family members. And then with your friends, you can choose to, you better like them and love them.
Yes.
They're going to stay in your life, because that's not as unconditional as the family members who you're born into with. With my father, I loved him, I didn't like him, but most of my family, I loved them and I liked them. So, but with all my friends, just about all my friends, I really do love them and like them. So there's a difference between love and like. And it's okay that, I have friends that are so not in tune like we are with each other, with life and all that. And that's fine, because, each person brings a different part of life to you, as you bring to them that they don't have. You bring a different, different friends bring a different flavor to life for you, or bring a different color or a different vibration to you. So poetically, it's nice when you listen to a song like from Barry White, "You're my first, you're my last, you're my everything."
My everything.
Yeah, you're poetically, that's nice. Realistically, that crap is out the window. That's not true, because to put all your expectations into one person in your life, to think that they're going to fulfill all your expectations and all your everything, To me personally, I think that's being a very shallow person, a shallow life.
It's also setting you up for disaster and disappointment too.
It is. And you're living, and I always tell people, when you're in a healthy relationship, share your life with the other person. Don't live your life through your partner. Share your life with them. They have their life, you have your life, and then we have our life.
That's so cool. And that's important to remember. And I can't believe that this time has gone so fast. So please, again, tell us. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Artie. And I'm telling you, the book, I don't say I read something if I didn't. And I'll tell you, this has got more corners and more pen marks and circles and dog ears and everything else. Because he's like Artie's talking right to you. And it's not complex stuff. I mean, it's not like it is, but it isn't. It's the most simplistic. Yeah.
It's deep subjects, but I explain everything very simplistically.
Simplistically and easy to relate to, and it relates right back to you. And if I might say something else tonight, it's going to be this. So many people in this chat put so much love out there for everybody, and, doing things for everybody and worrying about everybody else too. But, you got to stop a minute and learn to love yourself. So maybe this holiday season, buy yourself that Christmas gift you want somebody else to get, and then you're mad at them because they didn't get it. Just go buy it for you, because you deserve it, and you deserve some nice things every once in a while, whether it's a new pair of shoes or a hat or that picture or whatever it is. Treat yourself nice this holiday season, and give yourself some credit for all the wonderful things you do. Don't sit and wait for validation from people who aren't able to give it. Validate yourself.
This is what I say to people, and because a lot of women have this problem, and I say to them, how do you expect to be first if you're always putting yourself last?
Ooh, that's a good one. Say it again, Artie.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Say it again.
I'm going to say a couple of things that you're really going to appreciate. I'm going to say a few things. All right, I'll repeat that one. How do you expect to be first if you're always putting yourself last?
There you go.
And then there was a couple of things that I just read not too long ago, which is very beautiful. The fire that's within me is stronger than the fire that surrounds me.
Ooh. I like that.
So you want the fire that's within you to be stronger and better than the fire that surrounds you. And the other one that I read, which I thought was so beautiful, I used to walk into a room of people thinking, what will they think about me? And now I walk into a room of people thinking, what do I think about them?
There you go. Boy, that switches everything. There are people here in the chat that need to put themselves first. You need to look in that mirror and give your affirmation. Stop picking out all the things you don't like. I want you to look in the mirror and tell 3 things to that face looking back at you that you really love about that face, about that person. If you want to talk about stuff that you can improve later, we all have them. But pick out 3 things that you really dig about yourself and put them right up front.
And then play the song, Love the One You're With.
Love the one you're with. There's a rose and a fisted glove, man. I always love that.
And
love
if
that.
It's only you, then love the one you're with.
Love the one you're with. That's
and
it.
Don't
because
feel bad about it. When I say I love myself, and I really do love myself, when I say I love myself, but I love you as much as I love myself. And that's just the way I feel. It's a confidence level. It's like, well, that's selfish. Well, that's ego. No, there's nothing wrong with you loving yourself. And if you don't love yourself or like yourself, then you need to make those healthy changes so you do like yourself and love yourself. What is it about you that you feel that you do not love or like yourself? Now, a lot of times people are conditioned their whole lives by the lower vibrations of their family, of the energy that they were growing up with, or their past relationships. Oh, you're ugly, or you're not going to grow up to be anything, or you're nothing, or whatever. So they're conditioned to think this lower vibrations about themselves. But you have to break that habit.
You absolutely do.
And I had to break that to overcome my father's negativity.
Mm-hmm.
But I did.
Yeah, and you did, and you showed everybody how to do it, and I had to do the same thing. And then I had to go through the whole family and sit and listen to them after I broke through it. Listen to how much hate and disdain and anger and things that people still had, because they're not looking at it the same way we do, like you just said. They're not seeing it the way we do, the conscious level and all that. And that doesn't make them worse or better or anything else. What that means is it's their journey. That's where they are on that journey, and they're not at this moment in time not capable of accepting all of that. They have to see it in their time, and they may never. But to sit there and listen to the hate and everything else, it's like that saying where they said hating someone else and expecting, it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. You're drinking the poison yourself. It's hurting you, the hate and the jealousy and the regret. Do whatever you got to do to get that out, or just accept it as it was something that you went through that was horrible, but you learned from it, and maybe you just learned how not to be like them. Maybe you could just be grateful today for not being like them, like the old story is on the Trail of Tears, where the old elder kept saying, I'm so thankful, and the young brave looked at him and said, I'm tired of hearing you say that, old man. How could you be thankful? We've been ripped from our homes. We're on this walk with these evil, horrible men. We don't know where we're going. What are you thankful for? He says, I'm thanking God because he did not make me like them. And that was what that elder hung on to. And I've hung on to that most of my life. Where I can take something and I can flip it. The lights go out. We do puppet shadow theater. It's just, you just flip it. You just flip it. And I think everybody can do that, even if it's just a little bit. So Artie, please again, tell us where we can get you. It's artiehoffman.com.
ArtieHoffman.com, or you can email me, artiehoffman@gmail.com, or you can call me, 732-778-7173. And whether it be, a private whether it be a private reading, or you want to have a party, I do events, I do fundraisers, and I'm a riot at weddings, funerals, and bar mitzvahs.
I bet he is. And you are stationed here in New Jersey and in the tri-state area.
I am.
If you, just say, in your Pennsylvania, you're coming over to New Jersey, hook up with Artie, have an Artie party, at the, local restaurant. There's all kinds of things that you can do. Or maybe get one of these group things together for family and do an Artie party on Zoom.
Together to have fun with family. So
how fun. Friends. I think that'd be a wonderful stocking stuffer. It'd be a wonderful gift under anybody's tree. Put Artie right up your tree. I think that would be awesome for everybody.
Thank you.
And it's been absolutely wonderful having you on tonight. And I think we're going to do this again. Wouldn't you love to have him come back? Maybe next time we can, on a nice level night. We didn't want to do it tonight, but maybe we can get a couple people in a drawing or something. They can get a little reading or something. We'll be prepared for that next time. But I wanted to introduce you. Oh, I would be wonderful. I just wanted everybody to meet you tonight. I wanted to get a couple little things, or those little like mile markers for this journey in life, because it's so hard when you're in it and you're by yourself and you're going through your day to remind yourself of this. But again, you're driving in the car, look in the mirror and say, I love you. What's wrong with that? I love you today. Nobody else might say it to you. You better doggone well put yourself first and say it to yourself. I love you, Artie. I love you, Steve. And this has been an awesome show. I love you guys for being here tonight.
I love you guys. Too. I appreciate it. There's somebody who's watching right now. There's a connection with the color of teal. And I don't know if it's a teal emerald that they have of their loved one, or they were admiring something with teal of their loved one, a dress or shirt or something, but somebody is acknowledging something about either the stone or the color of teal. Somebody right now who's watching, I don't know who it is, but I'm strongly hearing just mention teal.
There you go, chat. If anybody was looking at that and the teal and connecting that with a loved one, there you go.
That's it. That's your loved one letting you know that I love you.
I love you. Isn't that great? And I love each and every one of you. And I love you guys for being here tonight and sending out this stuff here during this holiday time. Because I'll tell you, this is when they get together. When you gather with your family, when you gather with your loved ones, when you're alone in your room and you're thinking about them and you connect into that love, they're there. Aren't they, Artie?
Absolutely, 100%. They're right by your side.
There you go. And I love you all. And tonight, pass this along. Maybe if you have somebody in your family that you are having a struggle with and you're saying, this is where I'm coming from, maybe you can get something out of this show. Share this episode with them and let them know that you probably don't want to continue to be a rotten, nasty human being because you're going to come back. You're going to get stuck. You might wind up being a ghost. And that's not too good because all those lower vibrations hold you down. Let them go. Empty your pockets. Be free. Love yourself. Love one another. Be a good human beings. I love you all. Thank you, Artie. Thank you, Mr. Stockton. Have a wonderful thing. I am going to play Steve Stockton's Feather Story as we go out tonight. Thank you guys so much.
Stay well.
Enjoy, everybody.
Well.
Thank you
for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, I thank you, my love. Happy holidays to you, darling.
Happy holidays. You're the best.
There you go. Steve, thank you so much to Artie. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Everybody who put up the links to his show. I'm telling you, he gives a great show. It's about an hour, hour and a half. Sometimes he goes 2 hours. So if you can't be here, you want to jump in his show, I'm not going to, you believe me, I'm not going to be upset. You go watch his show because if you're there watching his show, you might get a message that changes your whole outlook on everything. Mm-hmm. I know you guys here. I did want to reach out to somebody here that I just think needs a hug right now. Peter, let me tell you something, darling. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the things that you're saying. I've seen you say that in the chat before. Don't apologize. You can say, if you don't have a connection with angels, I saw you say that your angels are angry with you right now. No, darling, you're angry with you right now. Your angels aren't going to be angry with you. Somebody else was asking, what are angels? And again, in here, I think we get stuck on labels sometimes. Some people say angels, some people say spirit guides, some people say higher self. I think all those things are fine. Do I truly believe that there are things in this world that have never been human that are divine, such as angels? Yes, I do. I've met them. They've helped me. Now, other people can say, if you get somebody else in here that might be a parapsychologist or thinking about hypnosis or mind, whatever you want to call it, they could say that, okay, well, that was you projecting this because you wanted to see it. I can't say that that's not true because I'm not a psychologist. I'm just a person who's lived through some hell and was able to see the light still. There is a word, and I might get this wrong. Donnie, help me if you know this. Are you familiar with the word Han? H-A-N. Han is a word, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it is Korean, and it means a sadness so deep, and you're so broken by it that tears will no longer come, yet still there is hope. I have felt that, and I think that word Han explains a lot. Sadness so deep that no longer tears will come. It's almost to the point where you're jaded and you're hardened by it. However, hope still exists. And I think that that's a very important to think about in this. And PETA, I can't explain what angels are because I think in some ways they're different for everybody, but I'll tell you something, they are not. They are not religious. It has absolutely zero to do with religion. A lot of different religions have tried to take possession of angels and say, only if you're this or only if you do this will angels help. No, not true. Not true. Angels are for everybody, and that's why I titled this. And nobody should ever try to keep you from them or tell you that you can't have them because you don't do this or this or this. Angels come with you. Han also means needlessly wimpy men. Okay. I didn't know it had another. I just knew the definition that I had. But, so that's the thing. Everybody is good enough. Everybody is worthy. Everybody is deserving, and everybody has the right to be happy and to receive and to give love. And if you're not getting love from your surroundings or from your family because they don't understand you, I come from a whole family of people like that, of wanting to be themselves and can't be themselves. For this person is nobody in my family accepts me. I'm the black sheep of my family. And no matter how hard I try to be kind and thoughtful and all these other things, there's always that thing that you're not going to be good enough if you don't have a PhD or you don't have a house that's worth this much or a car that's worth this much. Because none of those things matter to me. None of those things matter to me. I can go out back and in my yard, the rabbits and the chipmunks and the feral cats and the ducks and the squirrels and the possums and the raccoons, depending on the time of the day, all eat together. They all feel safe. Everybody's going to get fed. There's a certain energy there. And I think you draw that energy that you put out. So I want you guys to remember that. Draw the energy that you want to put out. What Steve said, sowing your crop. Putting out love, it's like that thing, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to play the feather thing. I believe in the sun, even though it does not shine. I believe in love, even when it is not shown. And I believe in God, even though He does not speak. Those words were found scratched in a wall with a rock in a dungeon in Auschwitz. If that person with that fragile, tortured hand could have found the strength to scratch in that wall an affirmation for all time, could still find hope and faith and love in that situation, how can I not? So you think about that. Things might not be going every way you planned for this Christmas. Make it the best time ever. And you have the control of that. And the first thing you do is look in that mirror and say, I love you. I love you for who you are. We can do better. We can do different. But right now, damn it, I love you just like you are. And I love each and every one of you just as you are tonight. I love you, Steve.
I love you too, Cisco.
Okay, so do spirits sometimes send us messages? Let's listen to this.
So,
Listening to 13 Past Midnight with Steve Stockton.
That Unicorpse?
yeah.
I love her voice. Oh, this is great.
The odd thing about this tale is that it's not an entirely unique experience. In researching stories and reports for the second volume of my Strange Things in the Woods books, More Strange Things in the Woods, I came across another story eerily almost identical to my own personal experience. The other person's experience didn't happen outside, so it didn't make it into the book. I'll talk about it toward the end of the video. When I was a child, our house in the Solway community of East Tennessee had 2 living rooms. What we actually used as a living room had at one time been intended to be a dining room, but we instead ate at a small table in a nook off the kitchen. The room on the front of the house, actually intended to be a living room, was referred to by my parents, my mother in particular, as the good living room. This meant that I was allowed to play, watch television, eat, whatever I wanted to do in the living room. But the good living room was off limits. Forbidden, verboten, no entry. This was reserved for entertaining, or in the southern vernacular, when we had company coming. The only times when visitors weren't being entertained that it was permissible to be in the good living room was when I was doing homework and around the Christmas holiday season. The lighting in the room was very good, which was why the homework was okay to do in there. Now, in regards to the holidays, the large picture windows across the front of the house facing the street were in that room, and as such was where we always placed our Christmas tree for maximum viewing pleasure. During such time as the room was decorated for Christmas, I liked to go in and sit in the dark, the only light coming from the heavily decorated tree and accompanying windows. This was completely okay with my mother, as long as I didn't make a mess or put my feet up on any of the furniture. Sounded like a deal to me, and I spent many a winter's evening in the good living room dreaming about what I might get in the way of Christmas presents. Life sure was good to a kid in the early 1970s. At least it was for this kid. The first time I noticed the anomaly I came to refer to as the Christmas feather, I was probably about 3 or 4 years old. I can remember being in the good living room admiring the tree. My mother always insisted that we go all out for Christmas, and we always had a giant tree that, resplendent with lighted star topper, almost brushed the 10-foot ceiling. Add in yards of garland, hundreds of winking colored lights, dozens of blown glass, hand-painted ornaments, the whole thing dripping with faux icicles, and you get the idea of what the tree looked like. It was beautiful and a wonderful sight to behold. As a small child, it was not only a thing of beauty, but of magic and the joy that the season brought. So, while lying on the couch enjoying the holiday spectacle of the tree, with an Andy Williams or maybe a Percy Faith or Perry Como Christmas album on the console stereo, I was basking in the glow of the seasonal magic. At one point, I happened to roll over on my back on the couch so that I could watch the reflections of the lights of the tree twinkle on the ceiling high above my head. Suddenly, I saw something hovering in my peripheral vision just above me on the couch. I sat straight up and directly looked overhead, trying to get a better view. For there above me was a lone gossamer feather, not quite 2 inches long, pure white, very fragile and translucent looking. It didn't look at all like the robin or occasional crow feathers that I found sometimes in the yard. I didn't know it at the time, but later in life I was able to verify that it was similar in appearance to goose down, although we never owned any comforters or pillows or jackets or anything filled with down feathers, due in part to my childhood allergies and also due in part to my mom's germophobia. In fact, when I did find those aforementioned robin or crow feathers in the yard, I was forbidden from bringing them into the house and would also receive a stern lecture about how birds carry disease and there were such things as bird mites, and the feathers were undoubtedly crawling with them and I should go and wash my hands immediately. I watched the mysterious feather as it turned languid spirals in the air and seemed to float at random throughout the room. I would sometimes lose sight of it, for the ceiling was painted a brilliant white, only to observe it pop up later in another corner of the room. I would also like to take the opportunity to state that we had no furnace, no central air, and no fireplace. Again, due to my allergies, I was particularly allergic to dust. When my father had commissioned the house built when I was 6 months old, he had insisted on the fairly modern concept, at that time in the early 1960s, of ceiling heat, which worked via heated strips laid in the very sheetrock of the ceiling. Now, while not very efficient, since heat moves upward by nature and physical law, it didn't cause any problems with my allergies. Also, being installed in the ceiling, it didn't create any updrafts associated with a furnace or forced air heater, and therefore was not what was keeping my Mr. Feather aloft. I can remember watching the feather for what seemed like hours. I was mesmerized by the aerial maneuvers and the way it would do things like circle the Christmas tree, as if it either possessed a mind of its own or was controlled by some unseen hand or force. I kept the feather as my own personal holiday secret, lest my mother discover its existence and do away with it. Although there were times we were all in the good living room, including not only my parents but my brother's wife and children when they came to visit, I never observed the feather unless I was the only one in the room. There were a few instances where I boldly tried to catch the feather. I say boldly because it took a certain amount of boldness on my part to climb on the back of the couch and assorted overstuffed high-backed chairs to try and grab the feather, which seemed to always just stay in the 8 to 10 foot height range. My mother would have at least banned me from the good living room and at worst applied a hand swiftly to my backside had she witnessed such a transgression. The oddest thing about the feather was that I only saw it around the holidays. Any other time of the year, when I was in the good living room, studying for example, the feather was nowhere to be found, no matter how long and how hard I watched the ceiling waiting for it to appear. However, sometime after Thanksgiving, every year, as soon as our decorations would begin to go up, the feather would return. I saw it during its yearly occurrence for several years, but oddly enough, the feathers seemed to have disappeared for good about the time I turned 10 or 11. In other words, as soon as I was big enough to have actually captured it. Now flash forward some years later, I've never forgotten about the feather and the mystery and awe I experienced because of it. But I'm sure it was resting comfortably in the back of my mind. It was not the sort of thing I would sit and think about constantly by any means. While collecting stories for my second book of true weird tales, More Strange Things in the Woods, I'd spoken with a gentleman about my age who had some unusual outdoor stories he wanted to tell. I recorded the stories and thanked him, and as a matter of habit, asked if he had any other unusual experiences. Well, there is one, he intoned solemnly, but since it didn't happen in the woods, I'm not so sure you'd want to hear it. I explained that even though it wouldn't fit within the scope of this particular book, it might fit in another book in the future, and I'd still love to hear any tale he wished to tell me. He began relating a story about a Christmas feather. And a feather is what you could have knocked me over with as the story came pouring out, so similar to my own experience that it was almost frightening. As he finished the story, he began to choke up a bit. He closed by stating that he believed with all his heart that the feather he encountered was the spirit of his deceased grandfather coming to wish him a happy holiday. He even claimed that as a small child, his grandfather told him that when he passed, he would come back to him as a feather. I thanked the man for his story, gathered my things, and left. It was such a tender and touching moment that there was no way I could blurt out, "Oh yeah, that happened to me too," without a feeling of cheapening the moment when this man, really a stranger to me, had shared such a personal part of his childhood. Now, although I have no idea how he felt about the afterlife or feathers, my maternal grandfather passed away right after the holidays when I was just a few months old. Could it be? I've often asked myself after hearing the man's story. I can't say for sure, but I'm not one to rule out anything. If you've had a similar experience or know of someone that has, leave a message in the comments.
Wonderful.
Thanks
Absolutely
for playing
wonderful.
that. That's a better version than I would have told. I tend to leave out parts of it, I think.
Yeah, and that is honorable of you to say, because, I can imagine being in that situation. Well, that happened to me, too.
Yeah, that happened to me. That's no big deal. That's the way it would have
But it
sounded.
is, man. It is a big deal. And it's, every feather, Are You Kidding Me said she had a feather story.
Yeah,
There's a
send
lot
that
of people
to
that have
me.
that. Absolutely. Send
Are
it
you
to
kidding me?
Steve. You can come on here.
Stockton81@gmail.com.
Yep, you can come on here and tell us. We're going to
Put my
do...
email address in the chat, please.
Yeah. Oh, they did. They absolutely did. They're on it. We got, Black Ops mods here, Steve.
Justice is one of the best mods in the business.
Absolutely.
She
These
mods
mods,
everything for me.
unbelievable. And that's the thing. And we are going to have a night where we come in here and we have people come in and tell stories. I think that's great. We definitely want to get the one with Donnie on, and anybody else who wants to come on that has read We Are Children in the Wilderness of the Afterlife. If you got questions about the stories or questions about Steve's stories or anecdotes or whatever that's in there, please come on. Let's talk about it, because we learn by talking.
I had to do the same thing with that book.
Yeah.
Cisco's stories were so good, I had to really rein myself in and not tell too big or too better of a story, because it wasn't a competition.
No, it was just a conversation.
In addition to, I was the color commentator, if you will, for her story. She did the heavy lifting. And I just knew I would flinch every time I added another chapter. I said, she's going to make me take that out of there. But, she loved everything. And they all fit just perfectly. She'd never seen them until the book was finished, and then I'd written all my chapters. If she'd send me a chapter, I'd write my response. And we put it all together at the end, and we didn't change a thing.
Chris said he used to be a good mod. He doesn't want it anymore. And Chris said he'd throw fireballs our way. I'll take all the fireballs you got, honey. I'll take the magic wherever the magic comes, because I'll tell you.
The fireball that comes in a bottle.
A lot of times, like, Laura said in her beautiful card she gave me. And Laura, in the beginning, I showed all the stuff. Steve and I were talking. You might have missed that because I don't think you were in the chat at the time. But we absolutely love our gifts. And the thing is it came to me at a time where I really needed something. It was great. And I was so excited about it that she got excited about it when I told her that I got it. And I was just so overwhelmed by the thought of the feather. What a that's just the neatest thing. I can't wait to hang that on my tree. We got our little tree today.
And Mulder loved his, or he took it and took off with it. I had to get away from him because I know he would chew it up. But he likes chewing on wood.
Right, and we're
now, Laura, were those pieces that you cut?
Oh, I hope so.
Pieces? I hope so too.
And they're so well done too. I mean, they're they're coated and sealed and just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But I absolutely love my feather because what that means to Steve and I, and a lot of you guys too. You see, I'll put bacon and feathers in there. It's because spirits out there, and they're going to send you messages. You just have to receive them. It's not their fault if they're putting stuff out and you're not picking up on them. Like I said, the more you do and the more you say out loud, I see that. I heard that song. That's an amazing thing. The more that can come, and Donnie wants to talk about aliens. We would definitely I'm going to get somebody on here that I met at the bash, at Gettysburg Bash. And Laura says, yes, she actually cut the tree down. It was a disaster. Well, you turned it into a lot of
and
love.
Then you glitter bombed me too. I wasn't expecting that. I opened the card and it was like poof.
I got snowflakes.
Glitter
I love
snowflakes
it.
Went
I know, and I put them all on my
glitter too.
I put them all on my table.
Out of my underwear for a month.
That's fine. Everybody's love glitter. Oh gosh, it reminds me of a story. Should I tell it? Oh gosh, I have to now. Okay, there's this lady, and she had her young girl, and the young girl wanted to use one of her glitter bath bombs, right? And these things, a lot of time, I'm telling you, ladies, don't use the ones that don't have the biodegradable glitter. Just a little hint there. You don't want that stuff. In places,
like sand when you get back from the beach.
So make sure it's got biodegradable. But anyway, I guess her daughter had used the washcloth, so she's going to a gynecologist appointment, doesn't realize this washcloth is full of glitter. And she washes up and everything, and she gets to the gynecologist, if you've never been, everybody in here can tell you about the stirrups and put your feet in them and stuff like that. But oh my God. And it's always this awkward time, and he gets there and he goes, well, you really prepared ahead for this appointment, didn't you? And she didn't realize she was all covered in glitter. I highly recommend everybody who's going to a gynecologist report, glitter up first. It's like when you go to the dentist, eat a thing of Oreos before you go. Make them work for the money, baby. But there it is. It's like, look, you just got to look for the magic. If you can't find the magic, be the magic. It's up to you sometimes to be the magic, to add those little things in there that matter and, that make it magical, and sometimes, and it'll come back to you. It'll come back to you. So, yes, Donnie, we are going to be talking about aliens. As far as aliens and angels, I have heard that sometimes they will come. There's a story about how aliens were trying to take these people in the desert, and we might get them on too. But to calm them, the aliens appeared to them as angels. So it was actually a mind thing where they put that in their heads to calm them. So a lot of times you'll hear stuff like, well, angels are aliens, or aliens are angels. I think everything is connected, but again, I don't think one answer fits all. I really don't. But I do think that things are connected, and we are going to get a couple people on here to talk about that, so you can get excited about it, because I know very little. I only feel like I know enough to say that what a terrible waste of space if there isn't something else out there. I honestly believe aliens have been here for a very long time. I mean, when you look back, I'm not a big fan of Ancient Aliens, the show, because I think they throw a lot of muckety-muck in there. But to me, how could all of these different things be made and have the same measurements and the same laser cuts and all this other stuff across different continents, back in that time? It doesn't make any sense. A lot of the hieroglyphic, I can't say the word, a lot of the markings on the cave walls and, and things like that they find in two places. It just doesn't make sense to me. I really believe that they're here. They've been here a long time. I think there's good and I think there's bad, just like there is in humans. And I also think this is the only place, this isn't the only place we reincarnate to. I do believe there's other planets with life on them. You bet I do. And I believe that NASA's been lying to us for a very long time. So there you go on that. So we'll get that going. We've got some great guests planned. But for next Monday, I think what we're going to do is gather up people that have read the book, would like to come on, I don't care if it's a simple question or if you want to talk about a thing, or if you think that, one of my stories was complete bullshit. Come on here and tell me why you think it's bullshit. And we'll talk about it, or maybe you had a similar experience and you'd like to talk about that or have an idea of what it may have been. So let's just get together and talk about it.
That'll be fun. Come on and pick a fight with Cisco and Steam.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. Let's do that. And, the main thing for tonight was to understand that angels are for everybody, and love is for everybody. Happiness is for everybody. And, accept yourself. You don't have to be happy with everything about you. We've all got stuff. I've got a lot of stuff I hate about myself. But you know what? Some of those things I changed, and some of those things I'm in the process of changing. I'll tell you right now, one of my main things is anger. And one night on here, I'll tell you a little thing that I learned about the universe on anger. I am, Lenape, Cherokee, and Scottish. Natural redhead, and I'm a Jersey girl, and I was Army. So I even went in the Army so they could try to break me down and build me back up and try to accentuate my characteristics, and show me what to do with self-discipline and things like that. And it helped to a certain degree. And then I had to continue on with that, and it's all about us, right now. What do you want to do to make today better right now? Maybe stop thinking a year from now. Think right now, what can you do to make this time better for you and your family and your loved ones and friends at this time of year, okay? So happiness is for everybody. Stop telling yourself that you don't deserve to be happy or and stop waiting on other people for their affirmations, because some people just don't have it to give. Everybody in here loves you. Everybody, in the chat helps each other, and this is a great place to be. And I'm so sorry I wasn't here last night. I missed you all, but thank you for the well wishes. We are back tonight. We'll be back again next Sunday, and we'll be back on Monday Madness with Steve. And I love you, my dear friend. Happy holidays to you, and to all of you out there. You have made this year a very wonderful one. I can't imagine being here without you guys, and I can't imagine how it's going to grow. Bring more friends in, and let's do this for everybody. Good night, everybody. We're going to go out with a little fun music to let you go out on a high vibration, and then we'll have our outro, and I'll see you all next week. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, make it the best one you ever had. I love you all.
Love you guys. See you at midnight Eastern on 13 past midnight.
Yes. Go on over there and get with Steve and listen to some good ghost stories. Good night, everybody. Go get them, babies. Woo! Get those sparkles. Get that magic. Woo! Good night, everybody.